Hello. Well, welcome to my fourth of my five streams that I'm doing this week. If you haven't been with me earlier in the week, because I've been streaming in the morning my time, I'm in Chicago, so Central Time, then you'll know that there's not much exciting stuff going on at the moment. Unfortunately, the things I had planned to do in this week off that I've taken to do Compiler Explorer stuff hasn't quite gone to plan, and instead I've gotten embroiled in a whole bunch of important but not necessarily that interesting work. And so right now I was in the middle of updating a pull request, so I got some great feedback from Ruben, one of our other contributors and administrators on the site, on a sort of a fix that I'd made, and there's some aspects of the build process. Excuse me, I can't hardly see through my glasses. I've just realised looking at you. There's some aspects of the build process that I'm not very happy with, and I'm trying to unify the way that we build our site. And you're going to have to excuse my dog, who I might have to go and have a quick word with. He's just come back from the vet. He's feeling very grumpy because hang on, I'm just going to comfort him and I will explain why he's upset. Auntie, you need to be quiet. Yeah. You go to sleep? Yeah, I know you're not feeling very well. Shh. Okay. Hey. So yeah, my dog is not very happy at the moment because he's just been to the vet for his wellness check, which is, code word for all of the injections and blood draws and things that nobody really likes. So poor chap is feeling unwell. Anyway, oh hey Elafar and hi Ross. So yeah, anyway, I'm trying to finish up a pull request that I was hoping to get done before I started streaming, and then I could actually do something more interesting. But you get to see some of the way that the Compiler or Explorer site is administrated and run in the background. Despite my sort of down sounding work, voice and tone, we have made some progress this week on speeding up the way that the site is deployed and starts up, which only makes life easier for us to do updates and deliver new things. So I want to do a site release as well while we're here. Once I've got this working, I want to do a site release, and that will bring along a whole bunch of other changes that other people have merged in. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to remember that I am currently on camera and not on the screen share. And then I'm hoping, let's hope I've got the right, yay, I have got the right monitor. So yesterday when I started it up, I switched my monitors over, but I was still running OBS, and it confused OBS, and OBS was then sharing the wrong monitor, which was potentially very embarrassing. So what you find me is looking and changing the way that we update some of the static assets. So we used to have like a whole bunch of Python scripts that generated a bunch of static assets, including things like the list of recent changes, the privacy policy, and the cookie policy's last changed time, and bits and pieces like that. And it was a bit special casey, and so I decided to dive in and make it all Webpack-y. So now I'm using Webpack to generate those assets, which means that no matter how we do the work, we end up with the assets in the right place and are converted in the right way. Now there's a bit of subtlety to that, and I've had a few false starts. My original way of doing this was to use handlebars, and then Ruben pointed out that we already have Pug as our other asset sort of generator. We use Pug for live template generation, and in this instance now I'm trying to do it for like a static file generation. And so like some of the stuff that we want to do is we want to get the last change from Git and the last commit for a couple of files, and then some other bits and pieces. And so I'm trying to get that working right now, so you're going to get me see me making the changes. And the last thing that I had where I was trying to run this was I haven't adequately changed our HTML file, which was kind of hackily Python regex based search and replace to insert the static code, and I'm now actually using Pug. And so line 102 of privacy.pug, apparently I did not do a good job of auto converting 102, and indeed I did not. There it is. Oops. There. So hopefully you'll see the tail end of this. It'll all just work, and we can move on and do something more interesting, which would be great. Humpty Humpty Sam. Unfortunately, Webpack is not fast, and I haven't got a quicker way of doing it other than just running it at the moment. And also, I have a dog hair or a cat hair in my mouth now. Yeah. Looks like a cat hair. Animals everywhere. So the hope is this will complete, and then I will fire up the site, and all will be well. Oh, have I got a web browser open on this page? I don't know that I do. Yay, here we are. Okay. This is a tailing of our live logs. And if you look at this list here, I've just zoomed in. I'm searching for startup duration. You can see that the progress we've made. So over the last few weeks, we've got 27 seconds, 51 seconds, 52, 60 seconds, 55, 48. And then down now, we're down to 10, 14, 12, 13, 14. So we've made a great improvement in terms of how quickly the site can start up from cold, which is brilliant because that controls how quickly we can refresh the site with new code. And if those of you who've been here before have heard me say this before, so I apologize, but the sort of intention here is to get the site release time down fast enough that I can do a release on the train in my 20-minute commute that I have every day when I'm not working from home. So all that being the case, this did not work. So there is another side of this conversion stuff. Oh, yes, because it's... Oh, yeah. Out dist static. Okay. It's not being copied. Darn it. So I have a sort of a problem of a sort. The server code currently is not web-packed. So we have the server-side code and we have the client-side code. The client-side code is web-packed and therefore can do all of the magical things that Webpack can do. The server-side code is just, inverted commas, is just regular TypeScript that then gets transpiled. So some of the magical things that Webpack can do aren't seen by the server. And one of the things we need to be able to do is at least get the hash on the server of a couple of the files so that we know when they've changed. This allows us to put the little icon that pops up saying, hey, this is new and different and shiny. So I'm going to try and find where that was, and hopefully there's a quick and easy fix for that. Now that file isn't actually being generated. So file, yada, 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 is not requested, found, and not found. I might, just have to copy the file somehow. No such file or directory, and it comes from cookies to blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I can see that. Where's the file options handler from main app.js 404? That's not right. App.js 404. Somewhere in here must be another for hashing. I've seen it around. All right, I can just search for cookies.pug in here because I know that I'm doing it. Okay, yes. Resolve from apps root static generated. Okay, so in this mode, we are trying to look at this static generated cookies.pug file, but that file won't exist on the server because it doesn't actually exist anywhere. It's not a real file. So there must be a better way of doing this. That is unfortunate. So I can get Webpack to do something about that and actually emit that file somewhere. Maybe that's the best thing to do. Is in the Webpack config, I've got this HTML loader, and then I can do some horrible. I used to have a copy, you see up here. You can actually go and get it here. So let's just copy that over. Gosh darn it, I just want this file, which is loaded as an HTML and can be required, to actually exist on disk as well. And I don't know if that's an easy thing to do. And this is where my Webpack knowledge falls down. So I've been back and forth on this about 12 different times, anyone who's watched me. Oh, an echo? Hopefully not. If it's an echo, it's because I'm saying things twice. Sorry. Oliver says no echo, so please do let me know if other folks are seeing or hearing an echo. There shouldn't be, in theory. I've got like quite a decent enough setup, I think, but you know, always learning. So webpack output file somehow is what I want to do. Output management, output bundles and everything. But the thing is, this HTML loader lets you actually load it in. This is what we're using, HTML loader. Do we have any magical things? So ES module, URL filters, functions. No, as I remember looking at this yesterday and going around in circles, and then I ended up going a completely different way. So I have a plan for this. Post HTML without any additional export into HTML files. Aha, to serve them directly instead of injecting with JavaScript. This can be, and asset modules. Now we're cooking with gas. So the HTML loader will parse the URLs, require the images and everything expect. The extract loader will parse the JavaScript back into a proper HTML file, and then the asset modules will write the HTML file. Wow, this sounds like a completely Heath Robinson thing. We can give it a go. So extract loader rules. So HTML asset resource use HTML loader. What does that even mean? Pass into and the assets will write the asset modules. So test pugs is what we want. We're looking for pug files, and I want to load them with an HTML loader, which perhaps we don't actually want to do now, all things considered. Oh boy. But this is half the problem, is like using a writer for an asset is going to give it a unique name each time. So I know we have some manifest thing going on as well. Hold on a second. Less out dist manifest.json. So we've got this manifest writer here. And I'm wondering if there's something clever we can do with that. I realize this is me scratching around in the dark. No, our other so Partoof is sort of asking a question about our other pugs being handled by Webpack, and that is correct, they are not. Those are generated in the server. Webpack doesn't care about those, it doesn't know anything about them. The server is formatting them with server-side information. This is unfortunately information that we only have at build time, and the only thing that knows that build information is either Webpack or whatever makefile or Git related thing that's running at the time that we bundle the software together. And so I'm trying to bring that into the Webpack world, because that seems like the right place for it to be. It's just unfortunately there's these one thing that straddle both sides, which is the hash of the client code. And I still actually don't really understand why optionshandler.js. Why does this need to go into the options, policies, cookies, privacy? I don't quite understand why the hash has to live here, but it does at the moment, and I don't necessarily want to open up that door. Hey, Becky, or Rebecca, I should say. That's how you've put your name there. I shouldn't just make up names for people. I'm so sorry. Hello and welcome. You're going to see me like flustered and trying to work out Webpack right now. So if we didn't need to get the hash on the server, let's just spike that out and see if anything. So I'm going to call this moo and get rid of that. And then here, this is also going to be moo. Whoops. Nope. Moo, and then comment that out. Obviously, I can't live with that. That's not something that we can do. But what I would like to do is see if am I even on the right track going this way. Oh no, I don't want to do make dev. I want to do make. That's what I'm trying to get working right now. So like if I had a completely unified build system that I was familiar with, something like make, which is what we started with right at the beginning, then I would of course make the make itself build everything into the right place and just work. Because we don't want to rely on make is not very cross-platform and it's not very webby. more and more stuff has moved into the Webpacking world and the sort of TypeScript compilation world. And then what seemed to happen is that we've sort of got two ways that the code gets run. There's the way that you run when you're running locally, which is how we develop all the time. And then there's a whole bunch of like complicated, or there was, shell scripts that kind of do some manipulation, copy pasting, processing, Webpacking, not Webpacking, a big list of files that should or should not be included into various different tarballs. And I didn't like that. And I'm trying to move away from that to make it so that everything looks mostly the same. That way, if it works for me when I do make dev or when I do make, it should just work when we deploy it too. Okay, so we know that this is not going to work because we haven't got a solution to the hash. I'm wondering if we can get away with changing the code on the client side, because the client knows the hash, or the client can create the hash. And we're going to change the hash anyway. Okay, so according to this now, everything is working, which is not true, because what's really happening now is policies have changed, it thinks, because the hash is now moo and not the right hash. But do they even work? Last changed on invalidate, grumble. And privacy policy will say last changed on invalid date, and then other will say change log and last changed on diff. Well, that's not right. Something very strange is going on here. And part of me is thinking, maybe I should just park this whole thing, because I have a working enough implementation that's good to go, just using handlebars and sort of continuing continuing the way I don't want to go with the project. Are these both the same? Hang on, this is cookie and it says cookie. This one says privacy and it says privacy. And then I must have typoed something, because changelog is giving us cookie policy here. So how on earth have I managed to get that so wrong? Changelog should look like that. Changelog.pug cookies. Changelog. And yes, changelog, and it says cookies.pug, because I'm a fool. So let's do changelog and see if we can at least get one thing to work. That would be nice. But while we're here, let's have a look at what it thinks the problem is with invalid date here. What have I done with my escaping stuff? Oh, come on. Inspect. And what did this turn out to be? Just the word invalid date. Last changed ID equals change date. Well, that's no good. That really is no good at all. This date time is empty, and that says invalid date. So I don't know what happened there. And it's not the easiest thing to debug, as I'm sure you can appreciate. So let's have a look. Last time is here. Last time should come from Webpack ESM. So there is another alternative way of doing this, which is if we can somehow provide all of the information to the server ahead of time, then the server can do the pug stuff like it does for the other parts of the code, which would make the most sense. But it's just very difficult to get these Git logs into the server, as Webpack doesn't run for the server. So the question here is, what language is this? This is mostly JavaScript and a lot of English over here. Oh. What on earth has happened here? Something unfortunate has happened. I'm really tempted to abort this. So much stuff seems to be going wrong, as I was rushing to get this all done before this working. So because like there's a bit of text missing from that there. Gosh. Well, this is a frustrating start to a stream. This has kind of been how it is. And another question has been asked is, do you miss RAII? Yes, I absolutely do. I really do miss having RAII. It's like the one superpower. I know I may have been on record telling everybody that C++'s superpower is not that, but it is really. This ID time and this diff hash last commit. Okay, so it looks like the this syntax is not as I recall. I don't know how pug works anymore. I can't remember. So I am going to make another branch off of this. Git status, git checkout -b mg fix make 2 with pug, and I'm going to git add dot git. Oh, I've got those moos in the code. That's one step too far for me to even check in, even to a temporary branch. So options handler, let's at least undo those. And the reason I'm doing this is because Ruben mentioned he might have a look at this too. So I'm going to say work in, let's just do wit in moving to pug server side instead. Not server side, I guess a build time side instead of handlebars. Oh, and I don't want it to actually run any of my my pre-commit hooks because they will all fail. -n git push, and then let's do that, and then do this, and then make this very much draft, and then just say at Ruben, this is as far as I got for discussion ? Draft pull request. So this is absolutely me just punting completely on something. Now, in the other pull request, the one that Ruben mentioned, it is, where are we? Somewhere in here. This version here I marked as draft. This is where I started earlier today before Ruben made the very sensible thing about saying, hey, we can just use pug instead of handlebars, but then that opened a whole rat's nest of problems involving things like, well, that'll change a lot of stuff. So right now, I am tempted to just hold off on this and talk to folks about it unless they have some great ideas about all of these things. Yeah, Jason says most heroes have more than one superpower. That is absolutely true. So I would be really interested in what other people's thoughts are on C++'s superpower. In fact, I was talking, with Jason the other day about some of the things. And I think one of the biggest superpowers that C++ has is it is feasible and tractable to look at the code and intuit, or at least have a decent idea about which things will compile to what code. And when you can't, obviously there's Compiler Explorer and you can go and see. But it's usually pretty straightforward to kind of look at the compiler and say, I think I know what this is going to do. And that's not the case of it with some other languages. Obviously, interpreted languages you can't do that with. And some of the JITted languages it's harder to do that with. Hang on, let me put this back on that one there while I'm completely floundered and flummoxed and thinking maybe I've made some terrible choices along the way. So this week was supposed to be me making sort of great improvements, and I'm getting sort of caught up in all of this kind of process stuff, which is important to get right, because if you're going to run a decent project, you need a good solid foundation, and this is definitely one of the shakier areas. So thinking out loud. We have some automatically generated files. I could use handlebars like I am in the reversion here. And so this code just statically creates those HTML files. The server-side code just reads those HTML files. They don't get written out anywhere. Sorry, no, they do get written out anywhere. They're just literally converted as if they were like part of a makefile. That's not a very webpacky way of doing it. You really want to do processes that understand the fact that you're requiring bits and pieces of the code, and then Webpack comes in and kind of says, "Oh, you required this file. I will get that file and make it available to you." The problem is, if Webpack does it, then our server can't see it. So why does the server need to see it? Let's bottom that out. I know I go backwards and forwards. I mean, yeah, so well-defined object lifetimes, that's kind of the RAII thing in a way, right? If it's what enables RAII, and it's what makes RAII. That's hard to say over and over again. But yeah, well-defined object lifetimes are fantastic. So what are these little policy things used for? What is this hash used for? And why is it that the client can't just, inverted commas, know what the hash is? So this file hash just calls get hash, and get hash does some crypto stuff, which we could do on the client. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. This is terrible. This is not a good look. All right. I'm going to pull the ripcord on this and go back to the main branch. I think for now, I am going to merge the code using handlebars, which is not ideal, but it's better than nothing. So let's go back here, and I'm going to reference in a new thing and say we should unify on pug for all our generated templated files. And I'm going to put this, and then we're going to say something like aborted attempt at doing so in, and where was that PR other one? Let's get another window up, and it is here in 3595-3595. Is he not going to autocomplete? Okay, fine, we'll link it there. Oh my golly, look, 3 different scroll bars. That's fun. Okay, create issue. So this is me punting on something. This is what I do at work. This is definitely an enhancement. That can go away. That can go away. Back to GitHub. No, not infra. Too many repositories. Oh, sorry. I've just realized I am not on the right thing here. You can't see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. I knew that would happen. I knew that I should have set something up to be a bit more obvious than that. So now you can see what I'm doing rather than just my face talking at you. How awful. There we are. So I am going to fix this up here, and I'm going to say I've made an issue to use something smarter, but I was going round in circles on this. We'll merge for now. And I'm going to say that's ready to go. And we're just going to have one last quick look through here. I've already ticked all the things that are okay. So what we were doing before was, as part of the copy, we were doing this conversion. And so I could have just put pug in here, but then pug unfortunately doesn't load all HTML files, so then I had to rename the files to be HTML, and then before we knew it, like, everything was broken again. So that's where we came from here. Okay, I can't review my own change, but I can merge it in. So that's what I'm going to do. Sorry, Ruben. I hope you can save me from myself. Okay, so revert. Use Webpack to auto-generate the files. And it would be lovely because I'd love to make that work for make dev, which this doesn't work for. So at the moment, what make dev sees is just the handlebar files, which means that they are not template expanded, and it would be great if they were. There's got to be a better solution, and I feel like, again, I'm going around. So that is merged. Hooray! Of a sort. Disappointingly so. I think we have some other stuff that potentially anyway, we can approve and run that. I think that's okay, isn't it? Yes. Well, let's just run it. I'm not sure what that's doing. What I would like to do though is a site update. So I'm going to show you how that works now. So having merged my change in, we will see that there is an action running now, and one of these is 2674. That's probably too small for you to see, and it is our build process. This is one of the things we sped up during the week, which was that it used to do a whole bunch of stuff serially, and now it does it in parallel, which is obviously a little bit better. So we do run our tests and our distribution build at the same time, which is a good thing. Once those are done, this deploy here is badly named. It's really just making a tarball that can be deployed, and then we will actually do a deploy there. And then I've got a bunch of things that are on my list to do. But I'll tell you what, it's nagging at me. That whole pug thing is really nagging at me. Oh, curses. Curses. What could we do? How... Yeah, I'm going to go back to that. I'm sorry. Going back and forth. It's just going to eat away at me if I don't. And I can't even remember what I called it. Yeah, check out mg fix make 2 with pug. So we've got a whole bunch of things to think about, right? There was the moves, wasn't there? But how else can we get hold of that information? So I can just copy those files. And then I will have the source to the files, if not the actual templatized versions of those files, which would be good enough for the server to see the untemplatized, untemplate expanded versions of the files. The untemplate expanded versions of the files will at least be different every time we change fundamentally the text, which is all we care about. We only want to care about it if the text changes itself. So we could just do that. And so that would be static generated star.pug2 path.resolve static. I think it's just this path here because I remember that. We don't want to do any transformations there. Although we could do the transformations here. It's just that each one of these will now be a different file name. So I want to keep the pug file. Let's keep the pug file. Blah. Rubbish. That will at least fix the server, I think. But we still don't know why. We still don't know why the code was not expanding properly because I couldn't remember how pug works, which is just me being lazy and stupid and forgetful. So that seems to work. Hash change.hat. Well, no, it didn't. We didn't look at it, did we? We didn't see that. I know we have got the server-side stuff is working. So if we go to views, here are all the server-side things. So like, here's our logo. Here is like what you get if you get an error document. It looks like this. See, that is how you do this. It is just that. So there must be something wrong with the way my expansion works down here. I'm so sorry, this is not going to be a very interesting stream. Nevertheless, you get to see how the sausage is made of a sort. Gosh darn. Well, I'm going to drink some more tea. Well, at least, okay, that process worked. Maybe I should put some logging in here. Let's splat those out and we can sort of see what happens when that goes. Okay, well, this thinks everything worked. And we know that the policies will have... Oh, see, this worked now. What happened there? How did this work this time but not before? Right, we've got some spacing issues in a bunch of places because my doodad, whatever, me converting the HTML to pug did not work, and we know we've got to go over that with a fine-tooth comb. These are very important to get right. Let's consent to that, and the privacy policy. This also works. So now I'm a little confused as to what the heck is going on here. Does the changelog work? The changelog works. So everything is actually working, but I'm wondering if it's path dependent, whether I've done something along the way that has caused an issue. So I'm going to get rid of that. The copy did work, so that's good news. So maybe I was this close to it before. Did I write this hash inside the thing? I may have done. Let's have a look at the output of these things. So cookies. The hash is on the outside. Hash last time, date time equals last time there. I think you don't need to escape it inside those things here, which is why the ID is kind of giving its wiggly. So something seems to have worked this time, but I am deeply suspicious, deeply suspicious of that. So I'm going to do make clean, which I hate doing. Anyone who knows who works with me knows that I hate typing make clean. But in this instance, I really want to be absolutely sure that from an empty setup, this would work, because that's what I broke the other day. So I'll leave this going. It's still, I mean, like the fact that I can't explain very competently the problem and why it needs to be this way shows that there's a lot more that needs to be thought about on this. So, arg. You get to see me flounder in a language that, or in a setting that I'm not necessarily that familiar with, although in fairness I've been doing this for nearly 10 years. You'd think I'd have gotten a bit better at it. One day I will understand. So you keep kidding yourself, right? Come on. This really is uninteresting. Now my dog, I don't know where my dog is now. That's almost worrying. Normally he lives on the one of either the sofa that's directly behind me, which you probably can't see. If I move out of the way, you might be able to see. Or the one to the left of me. And he's not in neither place, so I hope he's okay. Monty! Yeah, he's fine. I can hear him. Yeah, my dog is called Monty, named after Monty Python, which is my wife's idea. And he's a good boy, most of the time. Drum roll. Okay. So we're going to reload this page here, and we're going to say policies looks good. Privacy policy looks good, except for like obviously all of the styling and stuff like that. And then the other thing is the changelog, and the changelog looks great. That's, oh, what's that? Ew, that's nice. So we've gone round. So the solution here is that the website will use the hash of the unparsed pug file as the what has the policy changed. The client will just get an inline version of the post templatized asset. So I think that ticks all the right boxes. So that means that the only thing really remaining, we were so close before, is does make dev work? That's really important. Make dev might be the one that has the invalid time, but this is actually the thing I wanted to get fixed. It should just work. And maybe make dev won't work because make dev doesn't do the copy. Oh dear. We'll see. So we're going to have to do a make clean before this one as well. Okay, so let's reload this page. So make dev is a mode where we run Webpack in a kind of like iterative mode where it will just keep reprocessing stuff over and over again, and it's a lot faster to do development in this way. So how did I integrate Vim binding key bindings in Monaco? There is a plugin for that, which is great news. So Monaco Vim, I think is what you need to search for. And it is this Vim key bindings for Monaco editor. So you can install that and off you go. It's okay, I think. It does an admirable job. Okay, what do we got here? Policies, cookie policies, granted. Ah, there we are. So this is working. I don't know what we saw before. And so this is exactly what I wanted. But now I need to do a make clean, make dev, because I want to make sure that this works too. This is another really important use case. And if this does work, then we're finally in the best of all worlds, which is that even in make dev, I will get the git log and all the things that happen on the site during deployment just working for free. So fingers crossed, everyone. So my plan was to do something interesting, as I say, and I'm really torn as to what else to look into. There's a number of things. There's just a whole bunch of PRs and issues. Now, Compiler Explorer has at least 100,000 bugs. Where are we? We have 494. So there was a time, and Partouf will remember this. There was a time when I panicked when we went over 200 open issues, and then we kind of crossed that, and then it was 300, and it was 400. And now, of course, 500 is going to be the new place where if we have 500 open issues, I'm going to be panicking. But no. So this is great. Everything now is working as I would like it. And so we were that close before, and I just panicked because I was doing this stream. However, clearly there are some issues with the white space in the policies, like here. Anywhere where I've embedded a link in the middle will be missing white space, and I have to remember how to do that in Pug.js, which I was just looking at. So let's go and have a quick look at Pug.js and look at something. I saw it. Maybe it's on my other monitor away from where You all are attributes. Pug.js white space. No, I must have got rid of it. White space. Plain text. Blah, blah, blah. White space control. Preserves within. Blah. Recommended solution. So if you want to add white space, pipe with nothing, insert white space, or not recommended, space at the beginning of the text. Yeah, that's horrible. I don't want to do that. So it seems like in these cases where I want an inline A thing, the best thing for me to do is to have a computer that responds to my key presses like that. So I'm just going to quickly skim through this and see if there's anything else. Necessary local storage. How does that come out over here? That is in the cookies.pug, policies cookies. Necessary local storage. Yeah, we need another pipe in there as well. Seems unfortunate, doesn't it, that that's required, but that's life, right? Preserves within. There is no other way of doing this. Recommended solutions. One or more empty piped. If your inline text don't require many options, funny to use tag interpolation or literal HTML within a page. Well, yeah, that's possible. Oh, or I can use that. Oh, well, so that might be a better thing for this particular thing. So we can do span. Is that how this works? Not sure that worked. Keyboards are hard to use when you've got them halfway under your... So why so angry? Unknown token, this says. Oh, because it'll have to now be a pipe. Or it can actually be on the same level as that. Oh, okay. Let's try that, shall we, friends? And that complained about it. So because we're in make dev mode as well, it's actually working behind the scenes to do this as we type, which is why make dev is so useful. And if I could find any of my windows, no. Cookies. Necessary local storage. How beautiful. Yeah, okay. That's long enough there. The Mozilla thing is long enough that I don't mind having it on a page. And then here, similarly, we're just going to have to put another pipe to get the diff, save that, and then hopefully we go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and then we go policies, cookie. Mozilla has got spaces around it, and then there's a space between this and the diff. Yeah, except, oh, is the space got a... Yeah, I see. Wait a second. I got that wrong, didn't I? Yes. We just need to put a pipe there. And then last changed on that, and now we've lost the diff completely because I'm apparently stupid. Right. Sorry, I'm hoping that I remember to mute things, and I've lost where your chat is. Too many computers. There we are. Okay. So no one's chatting at the moment, which is fine by me. Oh, because I've deleted the word diff. There we are. Now, is there a way of combining these things on one line? Can I do something like that? Is that what that does? No. Right. Shh, stop it. I'm trying to polish gild a lily, I think. I was going to say something far more unkind. Cookie policy. Hooray. Still no space between that and the diff. Why the suffering? Come on. Last changed on that. It's part of the same span. This should give me a blank thing, I thought. Do I need 2 of them? That would be very sad. Apparently I need 2 of them. This is where Pug isn't really helping me much here. It's actually making it slightly more miserable. But the world is a better place, right? Right? All right. So I also need to go through and diff the actual text because I know that I got it wrong in some cases. So we've got cookies and then we've got privacy.pug. So let's go and have a look at privacy.pug. And we can probably do some mechanical stuff here. So we know that that one's going to need 2 splats like that. We know that that can go in the same line and it's not so horrible. Yada, 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 yada. Administrated by this joker, along with some lovely people. So that one doesn't actually, the one quotes, that one actually is a butting. I said butt. I'm so sorry. There, brilliant. Okay, in order to process, such code is covered by the Microsoft privacy policy. Source code. There's a lot of text in here. This took a long time to write, and I've had quite a lot of positive feedback about how well this is written, which is very nice. My wife is a lawyer, and that is a very useful thing. So if you're looking for a useful partnership, having a lawyer as a life partner is very, very helpful. Although she can't practice in America, she still has the right kind of mindset for this kind of stuff. So links of this form look like that. In fact, that one probably, these things can probably be done better as the hash code. Oops, that. And now, of course, I'm just going to be spilling things over lines. So let's get that one done as well. Code splat, love it. Okay. Use this one and then Google, and the resulting was run as that. All right, that's enough for me to want to refresh the page and make sure I haven't done anything stupid. I keep clicking share as if that's the right thing to do. Hang on, I'm going to reset the code and UI layout. I'm going to zoom in because otherwise you can't see any of this because it's tiny. And then we're going to look at the privacy policy again. Thank you for your interest. Spate. Oh, see, look, that comma doesn't want to have a thing after it. Authors, that looks good. Yep. Boring, yes. Boring. That worked. As there. Okay, and that's another one. See our if you wish to help your data. Hang on, where was that? I'm looking at short URL part. Where the heck was that? Short URL part. Oh my golly, rewritten as that. So let's hash code that in, and then that's slightly less horrible. Love it. Okay. As again, this thing here. There's a lot of programming. Does anyone else feel this? There's a lot of programming that feels like sometimes you just have to try stuff out and see if it's right. And you kind of rely on the feeling of the artistry, whether or not it's, you know, there's a lot of engineering in this, right? And I always describe myself as a programmer, very much a programmer. That's what I do. I program. I'm not a software engineer. I'm definitely not clever enough to be an engineer type person. I haven't got the right mindset for it. Nor am I a computer scientist, because that would be doing them a disservice. I'm a programmer. And I think that leaves a lot of space for artistry. Then the short form is exposed. Why was it shouting there? That's silly. Let's do that while we're here. Let's make it better. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff you just sort of have to try it on and see if it looks better or worse. And there's a lot of decisions that you make. And the kind of the decision... where am I going with this? You know, reasonable people can disagree about something. It's ultimately a sort of an issue of style and taste. Okay, blah blah blah. The source code, yeah, debug for short URLs. Blind. So this form looked like this prior to. Oh look, see that didn't work. Why did that not work? Did I get that the wrong way around? So we are in short links. Links of this form look like What did I do differently in that one? Am I losing my mind? I mean, almost certainly. So links of this form look like that. That one worked. Prior to storing as... Oh, yes, look. I'm a fool. Application web as short URL. That looks good. And M, again, I did that wrong as well. That's there. Yep. If you want, we can 3rd century. Yep. This can. Yep. Executing your code. A separate document. Which there is going to have our friendly pipes everywhere. Covering more on this. Statistics tracking on the. Oh, and the GitHub has got some horrible remainder of what was there before. GitHub project page, compilers and the GDPR, and this stuff, and my personal address from where I am currently coming to you from is listed there, which is a lovely thing. Last changed on. Oh, look! His last changed on needs an extra space after it here. So I'm going to put one more of these splats there, and almost certainly on the cookie one as well. There are 19 of you watching this. That you really don't have to. This is such a dull thing for me to be doing. It's like proofreading some legal documentation. What's wrong with you? Okay. I am going to reload the page. And I'm going to look at the cookie policy first. Okay. Granted. Last changed on. No, I just changed that, I thought. Do I need 2 of these? What's going on there? Or does this need to be on a separate line like this for this to work? Ah, I see. Can I get rid of that now? No. Well, mysteries abound, friends. If anyone knows what I might have done wrong there, then please tell me. Okay, privacy. We're going to steal that and put that there. Now, there's some clever things you could do with includes and all sorts of magic like that, but save. Right. Cookie policy. Diff. Small text files, cookies, blah. See, that's the thing I knew. Right. Something. We've lost some text there, so we're going to go and, rather than using Git, which is an indictment of my abilities to use Git, I'm actually just going to go and copy it directly back off of the live website. What a fool. Share, no, policies, cookie policies. Okay. Compiler, explorers, to see how many. There we are. How did I delete that? So that's in cookies. So we're going to turn that there. Oh, I see. I'm actually to switch these lines around. There. Ah. Come on, IDE, you can be... I don't know what is up with the indentation there. Okay, compiler explorers is good. Yeah, okay, love it. Refresh L page. Cookie policy. Yeah, use a compiler explorer there are. Oh, that's horrible that those things line up. Does that offend anyone else as well when things like this line up and you get compiler explorer on one line and compiler explorer underneath it? Should we just make that the site? I know it's legal stuff. Compiler explorer, how many individual users... Maybe we just don't need of compiler explorer there are. Let's just say there are. And how often users visit us? Yeah, that's probably better, isn't it? Yep. Godboard.org, something. What a silly name. Who would have come up with such a thing? Privacy is important, which it absolutely is. Current page state. In fact, you know what I can do? I can... Let's use a bit of visual diff and get the two side by side. Okay, I think I'm at slightly different zoom rates on them both. There we go. I'm going... Oh, this has got diff in parens, so we should probably keep that. That seems like the right thing to do. Although, freaking painful. Because I think that's what it needs to look like to make it the same. Yep, all right. Beautiful. Everything is amazing. Nothing could possibly be better. Browser support the storing and sending. Yep. More details. Compiler, your privacy necessary. This looks the same. I'm looking just sort of as like the sort of flow of the document to sort of see if there's anything obvious wrong. Okay, so that is great. Those things now match on both sides, and if I can find my IDE again, I can now once again copy this same thing. Who ever said that there was a problem just doing mindless copy paste, right? Cookies, privacy, and I think I like to have a piece of white space after that there. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, you can go away. And we're going to do privacy policy. And privacy policy, oh yeah, we're going to reload the page first because we've just changed it. Privacy policy, there we are, we've got a diff. And then we're going to do the same on this side over here. And we're going to do privacy policy. And I'm sort of staring around, covered by the Microsoft. Yep, with anyone. Yep, in short, I'm sort of, again, like using the fact that the alignment is the same on both sides. Short URL, shortened, come on, yeah, spam, detection. Okay, let's scroll to prior to at the top. Prior to. And the prior to. Feel free to chat, by the way. I'm now just a crazy man talking to myself. Sometimes when people put stuff in the chat, then at least I don't feel quite so weird. Google, report, compile applications. Yep. Deleted, web browser, Sentry, executing your code, rogue executions. Sounds unfortunate, doesn't it? Now I think about it. Separate document. Remove your choices. The GitHub project page. There we go. Size a mistake. GitHub project page. GitHub. In the privacy. GitHub project page. On the blank line. Thank you very much. So I'm going to assume that just worked. Compiler Explorer and the good purr and some things there, and that's me. Brilliant. Okay. Well, friends, you have been with me through this crisis of confidence that I've had, but I do think this is a better answer to the question, which nobody asked. So I am going to git add dot git commit. Git. In fact, no, I'm going to git stash. I'm going to git checkout main. I'm going to pull, because I merged that other thing in. And now I'm going to do a git checkout -m mg fix make 3 with pug, because why wouldn't you? Git stash pop. And this should now give me deleted and modified in stash change. Okay, no, we're not doing that. Reset hard. Git checkout mg fix make 2 with pug git stash pop. Right, we'll do this the other way. We're going to say actually use pug appropriately, and I can't spell. Still can't spell appropriately. There we are. Control T is your friend. Do I have any ideas for another? Thank you for somebody coming in asking a question so that I don't feel so lonely. Do I have any ideas for another Cppcon talk? I do not, actually. I have not been doing very much C++ recently, which has made it very difficult to get inspired to do talks. The most recent one I did at cppp.fr with the superpower that we were talking about earlier, that was kind of another side project of mine, the Xania multi-user dungeon code, which has been with me now for a couple of decades. So I was still working on that and as a kind of hobby project, and so that was an ample source of inspiration for a talk where I showed off that the code that was written in the 80s and 90s still compiles and runs and can be slowly and incrementally changed to C++, which is great. But that just happened to be in my back pocket. I'm very fortunate to have that. So not really got any ideas right now. I definitely want to do some more talks. I just haven't really had that inspiration, and without having like my day job give me plenty of opportunities to work on these kinds of things, I don't have a plenty of spare time. My spare time really is spent doing this kind of nonsense. So let's git push that, and let's just branch dash dmg fix make 3 because that was a mistake with pug. And then we do need to merge in origin main here, main, and then we've got all sorts of horrible conflicts. And now we're going to have to deal with the merge conflicts of myself, which is the story of my life. Resolving conflicts with myself. Does anyone else feel that that's a kind of an allegory for their existence? Okay, so we want webpack content. So magic button. Okay, always serve. Oh my golly, I'm now trying to remember which of the many false blind alleys that I went down this is related to. So set up webpack dev middleware. Or use static generated. Why are those different? Why do you think those are different? Dist path. I see. This one's using dist path. And then over here we deleted it. That's right, because we don't need to serve it. That is us now. That was the thing we fixed. Hooray. Okay. And then we don't need you anymore. Brilliant. Okay, you can go away. Changelog was deleted. Yours deleted. So we're going to accept mine because I'm right and you're wrong. And then this one here, we're going to merge and say what all went on here. Okay, so star.pug is being copied. That's us. I hope that's us. This was the old code that did the weird transformations as it copied it. We don't want to do that. And instead, we're going to do that on the fly. So instead, we can get rid of you. Apply. Okay. Git commit. See where we are with this. And then we're going to take stock and see where we are. This is watch Godbolt flounder in Git. I do need to check on my dog though. He's very quiet. As I say, he's feeling very sorry for himself with the injections that he had, the immunizations. But I can't even see him. Oh, I heard him though. Are you by the back door, Monty? Are you okay, my love? Yeah, are you okay? Oh. He's just sat over by the oven. A really bizarre position for him to be in. So I might have to go and have a check at him in a bit more than just walking up to him and seeing if he's okay. Monty, come. Yeah, you want to come and say hello? No? Unfortunately, I've cropped the camera so that you can only see my ugly mug. Yeah, you say there. Mergy McMerge face. Okay. Git push. And then we're going to go and look on GitHub and see where the heck we are. Live streaming. No, that's not the right one here. No, that's not the right one either. I need to close some windows because I've got too many things going on at once here. So to the GitHub, and not GitHub Infra. Gosh grief. Compiler Explorer. Compiler Explorer. Pull requests. Make 2 with pug. Well, that's obviously a draft, and I need to tell Ruben this is fine. Okay, so files changed 12. What on earth have we done here? So, write to disk true. We actually don't want that. That came along as part of the other thousands of experiments that I've been doing. Write to disk. Write to disk true. Right, so you can go away. This is why I always do a self-review. Here, always serve the generated content directly from the dist path. Well, we don't actually want to do that anymore because we shouldn't actually have to serve that anymore. Always serve. So you can go away too. Of course, nothing's going to work anymore, which is the fun. Okay, and here we're saying always, look, the server hash is going to come from the raw cookies.pug, which we're just copying across as part of the build. That was the fix. And package log we're not going to look at. Simple pug loader. We don't actually need simple pug loader because I didn't end up using it because it was broken. Oh, no, it wasn't broken. It did the trick It just didn't work for knowing what file name the particular thing that you were pug expanding. And the problem with that, or if there is, then that would be great. But I needed the file name so that I could do a per file git log. And I'm sure there's some clever way of doing it. Okay. Changelog.pug looks like this. Wonderful. Yes. Cookies.html was deleted and replaced with this nonsense that we've just spent ages doing, which is great. Privacy and privacy.pug. And what else have we got going on here? We've got some main.js changes, which are mostly stupid formatting changes. Require.default, yes. Cookies, amp, technologies, percent, yep. All this nonsense. Okay, right. Well, we'll come back to that in a second. This is just reformatting. It's horrible, but it's what happens when we've got... So we're in the middle of doing a reformat of the whole code base, and we're trying to do it incrementally. I don't know that that's helping us particularly, because now it just means that every time you do anything, you get these meaningless changes. Star from pug as pug. We got rid of that. Now we're using pug. Yes. Okay. That looks good enough for me. Now that I've made those changes, I'm just going to git add dot. This is git commit -m. Self-review. Self-review. You can see I've done that before. Meanwhile, Abhishek says, recommend any resources for learning compilers. I'm not a good person to ask, actually. I've never really... That's not true. I've written compilers, but everyone just cites the Dragon book as a starting point, and I don't even remember what the real name of the Dragon book it is, but it's the book on compilers that has a picture of a dragon on the front of it. So that's always good. Everything else I've just sort of picked up along the way. Twitter is great for tweeting out and asking people for help. Well, if you're lucky enough like me to have enough people following you to be interested, but I don't have a great so what helped me when learning about compilers? Well, just playing with them over and over again. Having made Compiler Explorer doesn't mean that I'm any good at compilers, nor can I really write them or speak for them. But what I have done is spend hours and hours and hours of just tinkering and seeing what happens when you change things. Seeing when you rename something, does it care? No. Seeing when what the extent of the inlining threshold would be, how many can I get in, and then reading the help files and all that kind of nonsense. So I'm a terrible person to ask for this, because most of the stuff that I've learned is just through being old and grumpy. Oh, what happened there? Some things happened about... We've definitely got some problems going on here. Make git status, git commit, amend -n. Let's get that involved with that too. Okay. So we're going to do make clean make. Let's do our final tests of this before we can commit it and be very, very excited about a completely unhelpful change. So in terms of other things, so this week I was planning on doing some really big behind-the-scenes changes to move Compiler Explorer out of my personal AWS account and into a kind of organization account, so that I can have a bit more, can share control a bit more easily. That was one thing that I have not even really started. And then yesterday, while walking the dog, I was sort of thinking around and thinking, well, maybe I should do something that I've been meaning to do for ages, which is to change the way we do compilations completely, where instead of having the load balancing being done by a traditional load balancer that spreads web requests to many of our machines, instead having a separate set of compilation only machines that read from a queue. What that would allow me to do is divorce the idea of how many divorce our idea about how much load the site is under from the machines that are just serving web pages. So half the time they're serving web pages, which they need to be quick for, they need to be healthy, and another half the time that they are wedged doing compilation. Now, compiling doesn't actually take their time. Parsing the output does. And what it means is if you're very unlucky and the load balancer has decided to put your request and has given it to a machine that is currently doing like 3 or 4 big template compiles, you're going to be waiting for ages before the the machine is ready to perform your compilation. And that's not fair. There may be like 6 or 7 other machines running that are idle. So if we had a queue, a central queue, and those machines were pulling off of the queue only when they were ready to compile, then it would be fairer and there would be a slightly faster turnaround time. So that would be fun to do, but every time I think about it, I realize quite how difficult it would be to get working. Okay. Let's see. First of all, it started up. Secondly, it's telling me that all the policies have changed. And it's changed because the last change time has in fact changed because, you know what, it is, we checked it in, so it's got a different, it's got a different change time. So I have to consent this. This is the problem with this, is this change is going to cause everyone to have a big pop-up. So pop-ups, these seem to work. That's lovely. Other change log. Here they all are. Here's the change log. Reverts the reversion. Yep. Love it. Okay, so that worked. So part 1 worked. Make clean, make dev. Let's try that. If that works, then I think we're in a good health. Rude health, even. So I was looking at my stats, and I apologize that I have monetization on. I'm just intrigued as to how this would work out. You know, could I change career? And the answer so far is no. It's a couple of dollars I think I've made from the 6 or 7 hours of talking to myself, which is great because I can go and get myself a coffee at the end of all of this and feel pretty confident that I can afford it, which thankfully I could before, but it's still nice to know. But I do dither from time to time about whether or not I need to spend more time, like more officially, on Compiler Explorer. It's bigger than I can handle, right? You know. Right. Anyway, here we are. Everything looks great. Everything looks amazing. I'm very happy that this now looks this way. Love it. Change logs. Okay, so first of all, I can push this change. I'm very confident that this is strictly an improvement. The second and last thing is I'm very quickly going to see if I can get rid of that whole hash nonsense with the pug file. So that would finally get rid of the idea that the server doesn't need to know anything about these files. At the moment, the server needs to do it because of the get file hash. Here we are. Okay, so privacy.hash and privacy status. So there's going to be something here with policies. There's definitely a policy thing that understands these things. Hash and key. Unfortunately, hash and key are not very Googleable. Oh, there we are. Return JS cookies.get equals options.policies.cookies.hash. Has cookie consented? Well, friends. I wonder if we were to change this and do this on the client, then life would be a lot simpler. And then we don't even need to have the server know what these files are. This piece of code is running, he says, let's just check. This is running on the client, and the client knows this stuff. So cookies.hash is there. And privacy.hash. I wish I could type, it would be a lot less. .set privacy.hash. So there's a couple of places where this is put in. Require generated.default. You see, that is exactly where this bit of code here is the privacy policy. And so what if where are the other places that's used? Else if. They're both in main.js. What if I were to do this? Imagine this. Const privacy policy HTML equals, hang on, I've got an IDE. Let's use the IDE. So let's make a constant out of this. Cannot. What did it say? Cannot. Oh, it's because it's got to be a var body. Okay, this is privacy policy document. So it's a dirty, great, big global variable. Wonderful. Not. And then this, instead of it being hashed here, I'm just going to hash it. No, why don't I can do this in one place. Haha. Can I do it in there? Set up buttons. Buttons? I don't know what buttons are. Buttons. Buttons. There we are. I see. So this only knows if it's enabled. Okay, if it's enabled, the hash is set. And if it's set, it's either there or null. Where else do we use this? I'm wondering if I can just get rid of the whole idea of that. Privacy.hash. Else if init policies. If it's enabled, do some stuff. Okay. If we haven't got the key, else, if it's not equal to the same, got it. Got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. I think... Where does this get called? Init policies is called there. Add buttons. Where is add buttons? Buttons? This is called setup buttons with options. And that options, remind me where that options gets read in. So somebody asked, why did the changelog dialog start scrolled partway down? Excellent question, and one I glossed completely over. I noticed it too. That was because we reused the same widget, and I'd already scrolled the privacy policy halfway down, and so it kind of remembered that that was the distance down. Now, if I were to go to it again, it would be back at the top, so not ideal. Yeah, and thank you for the comment about Zig. Yeah, Zig sounds pretty awesome, actually. I was very excited about hearing that on Cppcast the other day. So I think what is going on here is I am being a bit of a chicken about this change now. And setting up the button, if it's enabled, who calls set up buttons? I don't want to do this in the wrong order. If not, embedded, set up buttons. Where do we get the options? Options, options, options equals require options dot options. Yeah, I just think we need to kill that hash. I'm going to get rid of the hash. Cookie policies dot privacies dot hash. Okay, so anything we want to find, we're going to find anything that is either privacy or cookie real dot hash cookies. There it is. Okay, so these are the places we've got to fix. Has cookie consented? So right at the top here, I've got all these vars and things up here. We're going to have ourselves, this is in main.js, and horrible cookie policy. Why don't we do documents, policy documents, to try and hide it away a little bit, equals cookies, and then we're going to do dot dot dot, and then we're going to do privacy dot dot dot. And then where is our require nonsense down here? Privacy, that's it. var privacy policy document is going to go in here. Function setup policy document splat splat return that, and we're going to have text, and this is going to return text hash to be determined, everybody. And now we're going to have setup policy document set up policy document. Require all this nonsense dot default, and this one over here will be cookies. Watch me type it right this time. Okay. So finally, hash here, we're going to, for now, go into our server-side code and go and steal the server-side code that does this. Hashd. Where did we get that from? So let's search for cookies.pug. Hash is get file hash, client options handler, read file sync, blah dot hash version, get hash version is policies version 1. Will that be the last usage of it? I think it will be. Okay, we're going to steal you then. And we're going to steal you, and then these two things can go away, and you can go away. And you can go here. And this is going to be get hash of that and that. And then we need to obviously find this get hash function wherever the heck it was. Get hash. Oh, count occurrences is unused apparently now. Well, that's fine. Well, we're not going to touch that right now. Get hash, and it's this thing here. I realize this is all heinous. Const, we can't do const because we're in horrible client world. And then this get hash here, we're just going to paste that in here. Object to hashable string, which over in this land is just, if it's a string, then that, which it is a string, so it's just going to be that, so we can get rid of it. It's just going to be text, text. And crypto.create HMAC. Is that me being a bit hopeful here that that's actually going to do what I want it to do? Oh dear, we're in a browser, aren't we? We're in a browser. What? Very confused. So browser, crypto, web APIs. This feature is available in web workers. Global crypto property. Oh, apparently that is actually a thing. We can do that. Good. Because I don't know otherwise. Yes. So then the hash will just be all of that stuff there. Love it. And then we need to put a comma on the end because of that. And test is not the right word. Text is there. Policy documents needs a semicolon at the end. It's complaining because it's unused. But now we can finally go and use, if this cookies.hash, well, the cookies.hash will no longer exist. We're going to say is equal to policy documents.cookies.hash. Beautiful. That's where we were going with this. Oh yes, thank you for keeping up with me there. I realize that I'm kind of zooming around all over the place. So this is going to be policy documents dot, where are we? Privacy dot text, and then above, yep. And this is going to be policy documents dot cookies dot text. Oh, hang on, was that an at? That was that. Yep. And words. What words do I have left? .privacy.text. Perfect. Privacy policy. All these things are amazing and brilliant. And then, yeah, here's the hash that we need to get rid of. This needs to be policy.documents.privacy.hash. And then hopefully there's one down here. Can't remember why this checker series, it seems superfluous. Yep, not going to open that thing now. Whoop, this needs to be .cookies.text. Whoops. Okay. So privacy.hash is here. Brilliant. This one needs to be policy documents.privacy.hash. Wunderbar. Yep. Next one. Policy documents.cookies.hash. And then policy documents.cookies.hash. Okay. I think that has done all the things. So then back to the server code over in app.js and options, and we're going to look for cookies. No. Utils app. Somewhere in here is the thing that I need to now delete the hash colon. Anyone? Bueller. Yes, here we go. So if it's enabled, then we can go and get it. If it's not, we're not. If it's enabled, we're going to get it, we're not. And we don't care at all. And I think that's a superfluous comment there. And I think everything is brilliant. It couldn't be better. Okay. Make dev. How much of programming is this really, though? Right? I absolutely adore watching the algorithms-based talks that you see on Cppcon and other things like that. And I admire the work of Sean Parent a lot. And I listen to ADSP, the podcast, which if you're into algorithms and data structures, you should listen to. They're all brilliant, and they talk about these amazing ways of combining and piping and combining with combinators and all these kind of really high-level concepts. But maybe it's just the code that I write. Maybe I'm just terrible at programming, which I think you probably are thinking right now. But I never get to do that kind of stuff, right? Every now and then, maybe 1% of the time, I'm like, oh, I can use a partial sort, or I can use this, or I can use some other thing. But most of the time, it's just kind of digging through the mud with code like this. Now, ideally, we'd have a much better test setup where I could write tests for this kind of code. You'll notice that there aren't really any of them here. That's unfortunate. Now, did that fail? Or is it taking its time? No. We broke it, everyone. Uncaught. Crypto.create_hmac is not a function. Well, there you go. The web access is through crypto. So what do we get on crypto here? And we get a subtle crypto. What the heck is that? Hashing signing. Okay, crypto.subtle is only available in secure context, HTTPS. Well, that's annoying. Why the heck can't I use this? That's going to be a problem. Really? I mean, they're making it so that we can't actually access this over anything other than HTTPS, which is not good. That will be problematic. Well, I mean, I guess I can get to it here, right? Subtle. And it is presumably an empty thing. Oh no, we've got these things. Decrypt. Generate key. Get the heck out, honestly. Why does this have to be so hard? Folks saying here, horrible client world, accurate. Yep. Man, I was spent making JavaScript, but I could have been spent making something new become great. Yeah, that's how these things go. I do quite like it. Okay, so I might as well clean this up while I'm there. Okay, the hash. Where is the hash defined? It's here, and it is crypto to all this nonsense here. So what we want is a SHA-256. Somebody tell me JavaScript web SHA-256, and it's going to tell me, oh, you can't do this. Subtle crypto.digest. Really? Algorithm and data. An array buffer or... Okay, so we're going to do crypto.subtle, thank you, subtle, dot digest, digest, SHA-256 but don't use this in cryptographic applications. Yeah, all right, well, not that's all right. SHA-256. And then we need to give it data. And it returns a promise. Oh, get out. Get the heck out. Really? What if I just wanted the SHA-256 like synchronously? I don't want it to be async. Async is a blight. Well, it's not. Actually, I quite like async, but it's a blight in a code base that doesn't currently have it. So web SHA-256 or web hash. Not that hash. Darn it. Why must there be another thing in web called hash? SHA-256. Oh my golly. What about... So where am I getting the crypto from in the other world? It's just give the... I'm losing the will to live, everybody, again. We were so close. We were so close. This does work, right? And this is just like the gilding, further lily gilding. Lily gilding? Is that a word? I don't know what that is. Where did crypto come from in this world? It was in client options handler. It was here. And then it was utils. Excuse me. And where does this crypto come from? It comes from some TypeScript thing, which is lovely. But can we import it into crypto from crypto? Maybe this works in the client as well. You know? Maybe. Let's try. For crypto equals require crypto. It's not going to work, but we can give it a go because it's telling me it's node in the parens there. Crypt. Oh. Not crypto 1. Crypto, and then there won't be a subtle there, will there? Now we're back to what it was before, which was, don't tell me. Oh, darn it. This isn't going to work anyway, so why don't I just try it and see what happens? Where's my web page? Here, reload. Cannot find module crypto, exactly. See, this is where in a C program I would just paste in someone else's SHA-256 algorithm from some bit of code. But seriously, right, all I need is some kind of simple digesty type thing. File policy documents equals. And so we need this like at startup, so I can't even async await the stupid built-in thing from the web. It's just so annoying. I guess though, how about the loader can do it? We can still do this in the Webpack world. So here we go. We pugify this thing and then we return an HTML document, and I am sure there's a way of doing this. Let me see if there is a canned way of doing it. Otherwise I might really... So webpack get SHA-256 of file. Yeah. How to inject build hash. Yeah. Adding hashes to file. No, I don't want to do these things. I actually want to know the stupid file hash of the file. And that would probably be a... You can do this. What's the name of the thing? Those little loaders. They're loaders? File loader is a module, but yeah, I know it's that. But I actually I don't want to rename it as content hash. I want the content hash. utils for Webpack loaders. URL to request. Interpolate name. Get hash digest. Yeah, but that's kind of... Is it... For blah-de-blah-de-blah, is it possible? Extract tips, externals, hashed modules, IDs, plugin. I mean, I could just hash module ID plugin Webpack char hash. You can easily generate for your Webpack chunks. I don't want it for my chunks. I want it for a file. Stupid thing. Someone wrote a pure JS implementation. Yeah, thank you, Patu, for that. Might actually just be it, but I'm now wondering, like, I shouldn't have to do it in the client at all. We can just do it. Do it. Char.js. Yeah, I see. There's a char.js here. Require node style char on pure JavaScript. So we could nick that, but now I've got to be in my bonnet about doing it like the other way. Like the way I'd do it if it was in Makefile, I would just literally depend on the thing and then char it and make another blinking file. Assets Webpack plugin. No, there's. It feels like this should be a solved. This is how I feel all the time. Webpack. Let's just have a look at what there is available already. Documentation, yes. Plugins, loaders. One of these, surely. Example, no. Where is the list of all the stupid loaders? There's a big list of built-in loaders. Ugh. Webpack built-in loaders. Loaders. How come that wasn't obvious? Why is this? Yeah. Files. Any files manually, templating, styling, frameworks. CSS, HPort, node, file loader is what we want. But we kind of want... Can we kind of have a post-process on this? Asset modules. Yes, please move to asset modules. Okay, we've got asset modules. Raw, URL, file, asset inline, asset resource, emits a separate file and exports the URL. Inline, asset source, exports the source code of the asset. Okay. Automatically choosing. So none of these are quite what I want. Custom output file name. No, custom data URI generation. Ooh. Generator content. Contained SV to miniature. Ooh. What if we were to do that? Would this be stupid? I mean, yes, it would. Is the correct answer here. Require some other nonsensy thing, but here we're saying, hey, if it's one of these, then it's an asset inline. But I don't think that's what we want, because I want to do like the crazy exclamation point thing that you can do, which says it uses a particular loader. But it's a separate loader. Ah. I want my loader to be what do I want my loader to be? I don't want lazy loading. I just want it to work. I just want it to work. I just want to have a thing and it comes in and you say, hey, I want the SHA-256 pling. Exclamation point. That is to SHA-256 Webpack. I want plugin loader. Example. Something hashed. Well, let's have a look at this hashed module ID. Context. This plugin will cause hashes to be based on relative paths generated 4-character strings of module ID. I don't want that. I don't want it. CSP tags to the HTML output. This sounds about right. Where this thing's doing that, it's generating some SHA nonsenses and putting it in. But seriously? You know, it's the kind of thing, if I knew how to do this off the top of my head, it would be trivial, right? I think. I would just write a new loader and be like, oh, this is my loader up here. And so, yeah, what I'm thinking, to make it clear, because it's clear in my head, but clearly not necessary to anybody else, is this would go away effectively, and this would just become text of require that dot default, and then hash of require like, you know, SHA 256 pling of that. That's what I'm thinking we should be able to do. And so if I cookies, and what was the other one? No, not cookies. Privacy. Privacy is the other one. Privacy. Privacy, 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 privacy. Now, unfortunately, I don't know that I can do anything clever with that, because like with the repeating here, because I think it has to be able to parse this string in order to be able to understand what the heck's going on. But now, of course, what we're going to see is, you know, hey, can't, no, that's different. Can't resolve SHA 256 in, which is fine, because then I can write the SHA 256. But I need to know how to do that. I need to know what that's called. What is this thing called in Webpack so I can Google for it? Webpack handlers. And how do I register the handler with it? Let's try that. Webpack register loader. Writing a loader. Yes. Resolve loader. Module.exports. Simple usage. Guidelines. Loader utilities. Take advantage of this when you're doing this thing here. Look, how can I write a really simple inline one? That's what I want. Our loader will process .txt files and replace any name with the name option given to the loader. Sounds brilliant. And then, where does one register such a thing? Use loader. Yeah, that's not what I want to do. I want to actually have it so that I can... register. Think someone you'd think would how to register a custom loader in webpack.config. How can I use it like this? Using resolve loader. Jesus. Excuse me. You know, you're barking up the wrong tree when loader interface. So webpack is apply. You can know the word. Let's search for exclamation mark in here. Keep searching for exclamation point, which we all know is a really easy thing to search for. We might have noticed that we have in the note in the this dot request. I can't help but feeling I'm confused as heck. Synchronous loaders with multiple results. Either the return or this, or example, contain blah 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 blah. Hot module, no. You know, I've got this sense that I'm going to know and go, oh, that's that, I get it, in a second. Once we've found the right example that's going to tell me what it is. Use file loader. Chained after the file loader. So how does it know that a file loader is called a file loader. How does this? How is that known? I may have not picked a good example here. Is there just a list of loaders? Is that what I'm missing here? Because like in the case of the existing Webpack, have I just missed a trick here? So for example, when I say, hey, load using HTML loader, no, not run, HTML loader. How is HTML loader even, how does it even know of the existence of such a thing? Whoops, we need to get rid of handlebars there as well, otherwise that's not going to work. Well, that means we can get rid of handlebars in the, don't tell me, package.json, handlebars, yeah, okay, that's something else that we need to do while we're here. So now we have to get this working because we've got good changes we want. These loaders that like load, use this, test that, use blah, blah, and then blah. I want to writing a loader again. Set up, we need to do these things. Loader, use, resolve loader. Get a loaders directory, I can say all these things are here. npm link. Oh, I've never got to use these things. Anything that's this, use this, and then use that. Utilize chaining, loader utilities, module dependencies, absolute paths, testing, ho ho. Got to be. Wow. Oh, I'm losing the will to live here. There's the SHA implementation that Pantufel has found, which is extremely tempting right now. Apply loader. Oh, what's apply loader? What do you do, apply loader? An exported JavaScript function. Oh, and export the return value. Ah, now we are cooking. Apply query, pling function returning loader. Well. Is that really what we want? Maybe it is. Webpack 2 configuration. That's not exactly filling me with confidence, this whole version 2. What does the package.json say here? Webpack. Yeah, possibly not going to install. Well, let's see if it installs. What the heck? npm I apply loader. What could go wrong? Well, it loaded up. So what does apply loader? We're meant to use it like this. Require these things. Apply args equals blah and function returning loader. I don't really know what he means by function returning loader. An exported JavaScript function. This may not be what we want now, but you know, scrabbling around, finding things. I still haven't got... it does look like it would do some of the things I need it to do, but apply loader, is it even mentioned in here? It's only mentioned in those two places there, which is not exactly a ringing endorsement. Yeah, alright, I don't like it. I don't like it. Apply loader can go away. It's far too horrible and ancient, and it's you know, this could be a blind alley that I will regret not going down. But what can you do, friends? So in my options handler here, and I did SHA 256 pling. I should stop saying pling. Nobody knows what pling is. SHA 256 exclamation mark. What does that even mean? Can I do something like that? And does that mean that it's going to load that file? No, why are you so angry? You're angry because it's too long. Yes, you're absolutely right. It is too long. Everything's too long. This stream is too long. How am I even going to find out what that require syntax is? Webpack require syntax. How does Webpack's require work? CommonJS requires. And the problem here is exclamation mark is what we want to kind of. Why do you prepend with exclamation mark? Style loader, pling, CSS loader, question. So that does let us chaining loaders together. You can disable the loaders configured in the WIR. However, it's recommended to use the red blur with the blur loaders hash inline. What is this? Inline. It is possible to find an import statement or equivalent importing thing here. Import styles from here, style loader, blah, 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 blah. Any loaders, preloaders, or post loaders by prefixing the import stage, or prefixing with disable all configured loaders, or disable all configured loaders, preloaders, loaders, but not post loaders. Well, loaders follow the standard module resolution. In most cases, we loaded from the module path. Right, Node.js compatible JavaScript can't. Okay, so that sounds like we are on the right track here, and maybe we can write a heinous, disgustful McLoader face. So let's just do new file, SHA-256.js, and then I'm going to go moose, and then we're going to try and see if that's going to work. I guess before I type moose, I should do some kind of console.log. Oh my word. Let's see if that somehow and miraculously worked here. Clearly, there's still some complaints about crypto, which I haven't worked out. I think many of us may have complaints about crypto, in fairness. Import crypto from crypto, libs utils.ts. Yes, blood. Oliver, I can't believe you're still here. I can't believe anyone's still here, to be honest. Oh, I can get the list of participants. I'm still learning how to use this streaming malarkey. Everything is working. Yeah, I do not share your exciting things. Okay, so error in here. Can't resolve SHA-256.js in blah, blah, blah static. So, does that mean if I move SHA-256 into the static directory, it will resolve it? Or does it mean something else? Or... And also, this thing can't resolve crypto in there. I don't know what the heck in static main.js. Oh, I did see oh my word coming up twice. So that did work. Wait a second. Oh my golly, I was a bit harsh. SHA-256.js. Let's move that back out into the root of the document. Anyone? No? Yes, back here. Okay. Can't resolve that. Now, that's presumably because there is no export in there. Export, default. Typing is hard. Oh, right, I see, Oliver, you already came back. Right, yeah, you've not missed anything. And what are we going to say in this instance here? We're going to find a simple loader. Loader, write, webpack. I had a page that was not terrible earlier. Writing a loader. This is the one we want. A load of rubbish. That's what this is. Oh, I'm so funny. Okay, there we go. Look at this thing here. This is exactly what we want. We're going to steal you wholesale. And we're going to paste you in there. URL from loader utils, schema utils. No, we don't want that. We don't want URL. We don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want schema. We don't want any of this nonsense. We don't want that. We want the get options. Fine. The request path. Stringify source. Where is source? Oh, we've been given source. That's great. Console.log. All of this nonsense here. Source. Get rid of you. Save the file. Go back over to there, type make dev, expect nothing to work because why would it? And I should probably put a console.log moose in here just to hopefully catch any time where, unlikely as it is, but these things might actually get loaded. This is where I might bust out strace. This is the only way to be sure. Oh, my poor dog. He's still breathing, just checking. Yep. Well. Good. Phew. Error in static. Can't resolve that. Well, we seem to have introduced that. Now it looks like we still can't resolve ./SHA-256.js. So why don't we move our SHA-256 back into the static directory. Or not, if it doesn't want me to. I have used an IDE before. I know it doesn't look like it. Static. Refactor. Yes. Okay. Haha! That worked. So it does need to be in there. Excellent. Crypto browserify. Does sound like it might even be able to put in something for us there, but let's main. Where is that crypto thing coming from? Oh, I see, because I've still got it in there, yeah. So maybe we could have used that after all, but you know, this is better. For some definition of better. Okay, so export default, and then we're just going to do, are you ready, folks? Moose. Apply some transformations to the source. Yeah. You know what we're going to export? We're going to say const hash equals. See, here we can import crypto, I think. or whatever it is. Or was there a util for that? There was a util, wasn't there? There was a util in the util class for the util things from scheme loader utils. And what does loader utils give us? Loader utils URL to request, interpolate now, get hash digest. Beautiful. Hash type digest type max length. This is what we need. Okay, so import URL to request from loader utils. No, get hash digest from loader utils. Const hash equals get hash digest of source. Hash type could be SHA-256, which it will be, 256. It needs to be in single quotes, otherwise people get upset with me, even though they are wrong. Shh. Sorry, Austin. Hash type, digest type, oh my golly, hex. Maximum length in chars 16 is ample, so export default, and we're going to do hash. All right, everything is angry because at the moment it's configured to be client-side code. So we just had someone say they have no idea what's going on. Welcome to the club. There's definitely error in static.main 54. Main.js 54. Oh, I deleted that. What I haven't seen is too much evidence of, well, I haven't seen much evidence of anything working right, I was going to say. Compiler Explorer, localhost, there we are. So it's definitely telling me that the cookies have changed again, which I consent to. Let me refresh the page. And we've got empty results, which means it's broken. Compiled with 2 errors. Unterminated string constant. Sounds about right. What catastrophic mistake have I made? Oh, because... Look, it is an uncharacter. Look, it's working, everybody. It's actually working. So now I just need to move this SHA-256 thing into somewhere useful that's not in the middle of the client code, because that's not where it should be. So we're going to pick it up and we're going to put it in etc. scripts, which is like the worst place to put it, but we're going to put it there anyway. And then here in our, my brain is now failing me, main.js, no, options handler, no, main, here we are. We're going to do / etc. scripts, which is like a travesty against humanity, but this is like all we can hope for. Okay. And I just need to make a change to the file to make it so that it'll try and reconvert it. And then well, something changed. So what I want to look for is policy documents, right? Policy documents. Oh, see, this is where I'm going to have to do some horrible thing here. So for debugging, window.policy documents equals policy documents for now. Reload the page. Welcome to the wonderful world of debugging in thing. They have different hashes. Joy. What I was expecting, you see, was for it to have just not worked at all, and we've gotten. Yeah, it was English Country Garden, Claire. You're absolutely right. I'm starting to lose my mind. That's amazing. I think we've hit gold here. I don't like that this is ... etc. and all of that nonsense there, but like it actually has worked. And I have a cookie policy here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reload the page. Everything is fine. I'm going to go to our cookie.pug, and I'm going to type moose in here. I'm going to reload the page, and we should see the cookies have changed. Look, they've changed. It's got a little thing, and I've got a thing there, and then I'm going to undo that, even more importantly, and then I reload the page. And it's back to thinking that I've agreed to this one, because I have agreed to this version. Oh, I finally have a version of this code that I'm not ashamed of. So here, from loader utils, we're going to ignore everything about this, because this is just a thing that we... it's a thing that we don't need to worry too much about. We're going to inline that to make it even smaller. I wish I could kind of somehow define that, which was a way of telling Webpack, hey, if someone says do this thing, then this is what I would like you to do. But I'm not going to lose too much more sleep over this, because I've already spent... Hang on, let's have a look. What does the stream say? What does the stream say? Many times. I can't even find the thing, so it doesn't even matter. Don't know how long I've been doing this. Hours, it feels like. Right. So let's have a look. What does Meld say? Meld says I've changed the following things. I have gotten rid of handlebars because we didn't need it anyway. That's perfect. Yes, gotten rid of that. We've got webpack.config. In here we got rid of handlebars because we weren't using it either. Correct. And then everything in here is just beautiful. Beautiful? Resolve. I wonder if module... No, stop thinking. This has been created, and it is a beautiful function, and no one could ever complain about it. Options says we no longer need to do any magical stuff. We don't put the hash in the server. The server doesn't care about the hash, because the server never cared about the hash. He only gave it to the client because the client couldn't do the hash. And now the client can go and get the hash itself, right? We don't want the window.policy documents anymore. That can go away. I'm sorry, the font size of this is far too small. Moose! Yeah, a moose bit my sister once. Here, policy documents, policy documents. Everything is amazing. Gosh, the inglorious fun. Okay, and then the final part of this is that we no longer need to copy the generated stuff anywhere because nobody needs it. Only the fav icon is needed by the server, and we're going to copy that across. Okay. I know I keep saying I don't care about it because I keep bringing it up. I do actually. I do care about it. I want to see if I can get that SHA-256 thing inlined somehow. So we're going to look at Webpack configuration options, because there may be configuration options. Because there may be something at the top of this configuration that lets me define loaders. Oh my golly, this is tiny. Even by my standards of terrible old age eyes. Output, path, module, rules, loader, actions, resolve, performance, dev tools, configure loaders, loader. Does not apply to loaders. Okay, how is it possible to register a loader? We tried searching for this before. Webpack loader module. Inline, is that too much to ask for? Raw loader generates JS modules that use the thing. Asset modules. Okay, no, I'm done. Nothing. I really am done. I promise you, I will not mention this again. I probably will mention it again. Okay, git commit. What does git say? What does my pre-commit say? What do the tests say? The tests say please wait, unfortunately. And Claire, if you're still listening, most of our tests are now acceptance tests, or a lot of our test or acceptance test, which would be lovely if there was a new version of the acceptance test for JavaScript, because there's a lot of baggage we pick up from acceptance tests that bring a load of old packages that have themselves like security warnings logged against them. So that would be lovely, but I'm just glad to have them, even though some of them take a second, which is of my own making. It's very important that our 6502 examples continue to work. Do do do, ba do do ba do do, do ba do do, ba do boo ba do boo. It's almost exciting. So your reward, yes, would love it. Thank you, Claire. I think I've logged an issue and maybe even a PR. I can't remember, but anytime, happy to chat with you. And this is exactly the wrong abuse of my position to ask you over a live stream. So thank you for your tolerance of my weird behavior there. Okay, what are we doing here? This is policy hashes are entirely client side. Is what that is. So fix make 2 with thing, and my stomach has just informed me that I forgot to have lunch. Thank you, stomach. Here we are. Let's take a look at what we've got. So first of all, we never serve any content directly from the generated directory, because the generated directory is now a misnomer, really. It is just stuff that we can convert at Webpack time and do all sorts of client-side changes to those files, and the server doesn't even need to know about them, which is great. And I'm sure there's a better solution, but stop it. Don't let, what is it, perfect be the enemy of good enough. Hopefully this is good enough. Here is our SHA-256, which makes me think I really ought to put an explanatory comment there, but I don't, maybe not. It's fine. It's fine. We cleared up some stuff that was here because the options handler no longer needs to do any kind of hashing, because that's not part of the hash anymore. We've just got cookies, there's a key and an enablement thingy, and that's all it needs to know. We don't need to pass the hash because the client knows what the hash is, and therefore we don't need to have it there either. Brilliant. You can go away. Package lock. Some generated files. Yes, for good reason. We're going to ignore that and trust things. We no longer need handlebars because we're not using it. The changelog was deleted, and instead now is a big old list of things using pug, because we understand pug, or at least I used to understand pug, and now I do understand pug again. And actually, while I'm thinking of it, I'm going to refresh this page. I'm not going to refresh the page, am I? Okay, I'm going to leave that going, because I'm going to test one last time the changelog as well and make sure that that looks okay. So you went away. I won't click viewed on you because I haven't really looked at you yet. Cookies. Now, we went over this with a fine-tooth comb. Fine-tooth comb? Yeah, that is right. Fine-combed tooth. It's like brushed teeth. I am happy to sign off on that. I'm happy to sign off on that, and we went over this as well. And it's slightly too long, and life is too short for me to go back and reflow all of that, because unfortunately my IDE won't do it for me. Here, policy documents. We have to make sure we duplicate this. Duplicated stuff is a pain, but I don't know of a decent way of doing this without more complicated code. Now, the SHA-256 thing, I'm going to call that policy.js, and it's going to return both of those things. There you go. That's how we fix things like that. Oh, but then I have to worry about escaping the Java. No, that's perfect. Ha ha ha. Oh, you see. So we're going to call this policy.js. Do refactor. And now we're going to say const result equals. Are you ready for this? This is going to be great. It's going to be the best. Hash is going to be. This is why doing a self code review of any form is great, right? text is just source. And now export default will be JSON.stringify of result. Beautiful thing. And now here, policy.js, this is literally going to be that. Is that right? I think it is, you know. I think that's going to just work. All right, well, love it. We'll kick that off doing its thing. Oh, that would be not lice. It would be lice. Let's hope there are no lice. As I say, the dog's just back from the vet, so he should not have any lice. This is me undoing what was done before. So that's just an undo. That's an undo. And policy. Pug. What do we use pug for? That's right. We're getting rid of handlebars. And we're now pugifying with the git log coming into it, and that's it. Okay, everything looks great and wonderful. And we're going to wait for this make to work. So I just made a whole bunch of changes. And then we're going to hope to merge this. There may be some other things to merge, and then I will do a site release, and then you can all reload the page and then complain to me in real time that I've broken everything for you. Or hopefully not. Hopefully not. Compiled with 2 errors. Unexpected token. Oh, because it still put them in quotes, didn't I? I am a fool. So if we go to our policy.js, I said export default, and then I gave it a quoted string which contained a JSON string, which is not what you want to do. This is me kind of just safely emitting this dictionary object as a JavaScript object that we'll just import in. So let's not put it in quotes. My dog just got up and moved around, which is probably what I should do, as my spine has also been in a bit of a funny mood this week. It turns out that using the tube that contains the routing equipment as the structural support, it was a bad idea. So I think we should have words with whoever organized that. But yeah, my back has been giving me a lot of pain. Somewhere I have a hot water bottle that's full of cold water now. So I guess it's a cold water bottle. Is a hot water bottle still a hot water bottle when it hasn't got hot water in it? Seems like it ought not to be. It's just a bottle. Anyone else get that thing when you say the same word over and over again that it kind of loses meaning? I think it's called like cognitive. Oh, there's a word for it, and I can't remember what it is. But you know, like you go bottle, 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 and then you're like bottle. That's just a sequence of weird sounds. That's not a word. It's not cognitive tiredness. It aspires. Oh, the dogs. Yes. Yeah, so several things. Oh, hi, Jeremy. I didn't realize Jeremy was on the stream as well. Jeremy's been sending lots of PRs recently. I'm very, very, very grateful to him. So thank you. Semantic satiation. Yeah, that word. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. It's kind of an irony that I can't say the word. I won't be saying that too many times for it to lose meaning. But yeah, that's the thing, Oliver. You're right. One of these days I'll pronounce your name right at you. I'm sorry. Right now it's best effort. And yeah, Jeremy, you asked, what's the dog name? Dog's name is Monty, as in Monty Python, is what we say to all of the folks around us. Okay, so these things just changed because they have actually changed, because I've checked it in, because it's, look, Thursday, April 28th, that's today. Yes, at 13:29. That was a half an hour ago when I actually checked this particular change in. Yep, that's good. And this one is changed as well. And I close and I consent to everything. Everything's fine. Everything's brilliant. Oh, and it means that means it worked, right? That was what we were testing. I'd forgotten I'd actually completely changed equals. Oh no, module var code equals last changed on. Probably. Probably not working exactly right. Darn it. var code equals. Where did that come from? Source. Is source not a string here? Because it looks like the hash worked out okay. Do I need to do a dot to string here? Maybe I do. It's all a bit of a, I don't really know what I'm doing anymore. It's like, this is what all of this stuff is. This is programming by coincidence. What is the weird done for equivalent in C++ world? I don't know. I don't know what that is, really. And I would prefer it if you didn't use swear words in my channel. I'm going to take that word off, just because I'm trying my hardest not to swear. If I have sworn on this channel, I apologize. In real life, I swear a lot. But to try and be nicer and make it more accessible to folks that for whom that might be upsetting, I try not to swear in public situations. And I can apologize in person to folks who I actually sit with at work. So this didn't work. Now, why have we got module var code equals? It sounds like still some unfortunate thing is happening. And I don't know what this did. So, to the printf debugger, right? Console.log result. Result? Come on, you can do this. My computer is having a bit of a go slow now. In fairness, it is transcoding video, you know, whole screen video, 2 lots of it, which is pretty amazing. Did I use make or make dev? That was make dev. That should have printed something out, I think. I don't have a good answer for what this is really doing over here. So we're calling it .default. So that .default should be the module that was itself exported. Okay, so that's printed out. Exports default code. What is that? Where does that come from? Source. So text is module var code equals all of that. That's really interesting. I don't think I'd registered that before. Maybe that was how it was before. It's like it's made a whole module out of the HTML, because whatever Pug has done is actually not what I wanted here, because it's default exporting the code. I kind of want it before that. That is interesting. Is there a way of getting that raw output? Darn it. What do I want to do here? This is the unfortunate side effect of noticing something too late. Well, I mean, I guess it's not. It's better that we didn't get to production with this. So generated cookies dot whatever, and we know that the pug output thing that I'm doing here, wherever that was, policy, I guess, you know what? No, we've got 2 different things. Do I get any other parameters here? So what is a loader? Do I get other things when my loader is passed? Do I get like some raw version of it too? I mean, I guess the dreadful thing I could do is to eval that. I don't even know if you can do that. Let's try it out. What could go wrong, right? So we're going to do node. We're going to say x equals var code equals 1 2 equals 1 2 3 export default code semicolon. Okay, eval x unexpected token export. So maybe maybe it's the HTML loader itself that I'm doing here, but that I need it in other cases. So it was working before because we were hashing, we weren't like re-exporting. We were hashing this var code equals nonsense, which was a shame, but like not a problem. If it was just that and I did eval x, yeah, I don't like that though. That's really reaching into the dark background. So this is such a shame. We are so close, and then I've clutched victory out of the jaws of defeat, or whichever way around. So it worked before because the thing we were actually hashing was not the HTML. So it was not the HTML, it was the code that generated the HTML. Can we do require with a string? I don't think we can. I don't think that works. Yeah, module not found. That's really not that too surprising. So in this instance, I want to not do the same pug template nonsense that we do for the thingamajig, the change log. It's just a shame that I can't adapt it this way. Is there any configuration options for the HTML loader that I can say, hey, in this instance, don't do the thing? And I'm looking on the wrong monitor, aren't I? So you can't see what I'm doing anymore. I know I keep teasing you with this idea that we might actually be ready sometime soon. As a function preprocessor, so that's what we're doing to get this done. Maybe we... What if I load everything this way? So if we get this generated directory and we say, no, actually everything in this generated directory is going to be processed by this blob of code here, then I can get rid of the magic. So webpack, at the moment we're just saying all pug files go through HTML loader, which we don't actually need them to. We could get them all to go through, etc. What is this? Etc. scripts. Is that the right one? What did I call it? Etc. scripts. And now I'm obviously going to be, oh, God grief, policy.js. What would happen if I were to do that? Now, obviously, these options don't make any sense anymore. And then obviously I'm going to have to rename a whole bunch of things because that's more confusing. But what that should mean is it should get the raw data. Now we're going to have to actually do the pre-processing step inside the policy, and it's going to break the change log. But then what this really is this is just generated. These are just generated files. Did I type make dev or make? For development. Okay, so we're still got to wait for it to break, which it hasn't done yet. So maybe it's going to work. What time is it? 3 o'clock. Can't resolve in. Okay, so presumably you have to do // to get that to work. Like that. And then the policy.js, we might as well steal this code here. Although, I guess, what is this loader contents? What other things do we get past here for a loader? This is load webpack loader example. writing a loader. We said this, and it's just a thing, and whatever. Simple, complex loader. When multiple is, remember, execute in reverse order, right to left or top to bottom. Okay. Guidelines. Emit, simple. Chaining, modular, loader utilities. Yep, loader dependencies. You would think at some point this.get options. What is the this that we get? It seems like nowhere does it mention what the heck the data. This URL to request this.resource path. So it looks like we've got written access to this.resource path in here. So what I can do is steal all of that, paste it in heinously up here, because we're going to need the guts of this to go in there, and this will become this.resource path. All of those things can be done. Git changes. All of this moves into this file, which is becoming increasingly ill-named. Exec sync we can steal from there and paste it in up here. So there's some small amount of joy in this. Const unreachable code. Indeed it is. So this is going to be const not source, because we've already got that. I'm going to call it that, and this is going to be called content, and we'll work it out from there. Now we're going to reformat the whole file and hope that it makes some kind of sense. This.resource path. Yes, you don't know what that is. That's fine, IDE, because this is JavaScript and nobody ever knows what anything is. Okay. Now, did I actually update the thing to be / etc. Dot? Oh yeah. Wait a second. Now we're just going to be importing these things directly, which means that there's another one of these which does need to be changed, but we'll come back to that. So don't let me forget. Don't let me forget. We need to update, if we can get this to work, the oh, good grief, change list. It's in there somewhere. One really has to hope that all of this is worth it, and the incremental knowledge that I've gained in the last 3 hours of staring at this code is going to make future changes much quicker. Oh my golly, look, it printed stuff out, which means it did what I thought it was doing. Console.log result, and nothing exploded. I'm genuinely shocked and surprised that it has worked, seemingly. Wow. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. All right, so let's reload this page. And first of all, it didn't break. And second of all, the policies do not have any extra junk in them. Privacy policy looks good. Now, obviously, the changelog is going to look broken because somewhere there will be a JavaScript error. Yeah, it couldn't find undefined. So that makes sense to me. So what I'm going to do now is get rid of the console.log result. This policy.js is going to be renamed to be generated file. All right, yeah, parsed pug file, something like that. Parsed pug file.js. Do the refactor. Then up here in our webpack, parsed pug file, which is say any pug thing is going to be handled by that parsed pug file, and the result of that is not anything other than some text that has a hash and text. And so now the remaining thing is to look at main.js, I think, and search for the change list changelog.pug.default.text, because we don't care about the hash in this case, but we're going to treat everything the same. All right, everyone? We're there. You're still complaining you can't resolve dot in. On static. Oh, well, I got rid of those. Okay. Make clean, make dev. Let's start from the very beginning. A very good place to start. When you read, you begin with ABC. We were watching The Sound of Music the other day with my kids, and they actually really enjoyed it, and I was genuinely surprised that they did. But they're quite soft, in a good way. Actually, last night we watched My Neighbor Totoro, which is an excellent film. We enjoyed that very much. I don't know why I said that, but, you know, I'm clutching at straws for useful and interesting things to say, so let's wait for the bundle to finish. Come on, bundle. Okay, now it thinks the cookie policy has changed, which is a little bit of a red flag. But maybe I didn't click consent before. Just hold that thought of like, maybe something's up. Changelog is now working. Hooray. Okay, so these things are being baked into the binaries, the whatever they are, and it's just working. And that's beautiful, wonderful, and nothing could be better than this, right? So that worked from scratch. So let's do make clean make now. So this is that was in dev mode. Now we're going to do it in, I've just git cloned and I'm following the readme. And yeah, Totoro is wonderful. Yeah, we didn't know what to make of it. My eldest had watched it when in like second grade or something, I think, on a rainy day. And he's now nearly 14, so he's, you know, I thought he would be way past all of that kind of stuff. But he really, really pushed it on us, and we bought it on Blu-ray. Because it's so hard to find these things on streaming. Studio Ghibli films, I don't think, are available on streaming, or at least not on any kind of streaming service that we have access to. So it was nice to actually buy and hold an object, which I still do with all the Pixar films, actually. I'm quite a sado like that. And by sado, I mean, you know, like, they're lovely. You can't not like Pixar films. But yeah, Totoro, we watched it, and it was really good. Not at all what we were expecting. And my wife was like steeling herself for like some terrible thing to go wrong, because we, you know, in every Disney or Pixar movie, you know, the parents die or the children are abandoned, or any number of horrible things have to happen. So we were kind of bracing ourselves for that, especially and you know, spoilers, no spoilers. But towards the end, there were some aspects we were thinking, oh, is this where it's coming? But it didn't. It was just lovely from beginning to end. HBO Max. You see. There's only so many streaming services that I can justify paying for. I think we've got Disney Plus and Netflix and Amazon Prime, just because Amazon comes with all the things. Okay. Drum roll. Reload the page. First of all, we note that we didn't get a new policy thing, which means that even though I did make clean make, so from scratch, and a different way of generating the code, we still ended up with the same hash, which was nice. And then the other policies, privacy policy, that works. Beautiful. And now changelog, and the changelog works. Excellent. I am very pleased with that. So this is, what do we actually change now? Oh, that's right, yeah. So what we've done here is we have no longer duplicate the file name in the policy documents, because that was annoying us, right? You know, everybody knows that you're going to make the wrong mistake there. Yeah, thank you, Oliver. Yeah, it's exactly what we were thinking. I just try not to say too many things, right, for obvious reasons. But I wholeheartedly recommended it. It's good for the soul. We watched that. The Blu-ray comes with all the extra features, and we watched the behind the camera or behind the microphone thing with the kids and the parents, the actors that were playing them, and it was just wonderful. But this is exciting. We might actually be able to do the site deployment that I was thinking that I was going to do right at the beginning of this whole thing. So whatever it was, 3 hours ago, I was, just before I started the stream, I was like, oh, 10 minutes, I'll be able to get this thing done. Goes to show, right? Oh. My desk is a terrible mess as well. I'm just looking behind it here, and I've been accumulating more and more grot, all sorts of things. But what you gonna do? There it is. Okay. Git push. Back to our reverts the reversion of the thing which we merged in, as I recall. So at the moment we've just not actions, pull requests. So let's tidy this up. This is terrible. So this is improvements to policy handling. Save. I'm going to edit this. I'm going to say uniformly use Pug for HTML templating. That's what we do now. Use Webpack loaders to generate the Pug. What's the word? Generate. Come on, words. Generate both the Pug blah 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 output and the SHA-256 hash of it. No longer need to have the policy documents available to the server side, which was the whole point of this. Hooray. Empty star, no empty star, no thank you. Update the comment. Okay, and let's just click that to let Ruben know that we're kind of close to this. And I won't do ready for review just yet. Also, it's very unkind because for Ruben it's some unfortunate time in the morning, I think. Oh, maybe not. It's only 3:15. I forget. I so often spend this time doing this in the evenings that I forget. Okay, so we have parsed Pug file. The parsed Pug file does these things. It gets the git log, it gets the last commit for that file, it makes them available for templating, so you can put them in the temp file if you want. Wonderful. That looks brilliant. We looked at that, we checked it. Policy documents just look like that. That's all they are. That's all you need. Oh, and then we use them consistently to get the hashes. That's the undoing. We've been through that 100 times now. Everyone's bored of that. Handlebars, we've got rid of that bit. We've got rid of that bit. We've got rid of. We only need to copy the fav icon because the server does actually need the fav icon, even though it's unlikely. Okay, and then we say, look, hey, we don't have any HTML. We only have Pug. And when you're getting Pug files into the server, when you're webpacking them, then we want to webpack them as the text and the hash of them. Wonderful. It almost makes sense, right? So this is now ready to go, and I haven't been looking at Discord at all, so I don't know if Ruben has been looking at any of this or is even in the chat with me here. Yeah, all I have is at 12:17 p.m., which was exactly 3 hours ago. I said, hey, I should be able to do this. I'm hoping to turbo through this change by the end of it, but, you know, we didn't. So I'm going to let the automated checks run, and all being well, I'll merge them. It's kind of unkind. I'm not letting Ruben have time to actually review the code, but it's more of a heads up for him. So, whoops, I'm going to use the focus follows eyesight is not a mode that my computer supports. So let's get rid of some of these things over here. You going to go away? Yep. Oh, did I just shut down my whole IDE? I didn't. No, that's there still. Good. Right. So, that's going to do its thing. Oh, hello, cat. You going to come and say hello? You can go away, you can go away, you can go away, you can go away, you can go away. So we can do a bit of tidying up here. While we're waiting for that to go, we can have a little look at Grafana and see how the changes this week have left us. Oh my golly, it's nearly done. It's getting so quick now. Things are so quick. So this startup duration is what really has been the overriding aspect. So I'm going to zoom in on here. This is a whole year's worth of data, and the green is how long the operating system takes to boot, and then the yellow is like the part of that which is additionally from the Compiler Explorer startup time itself. Obviously, I only started measuring that in January or February. And what you can see is down here, these two little tiny yellow marks are the results of this week's fruits of my labor. So that has sped things up quite a lot. Now, unfortunately, what has kind of give with one hand, take away with another. Oh, I've just lost where I was, and Grafana's being silly, because now it's just longer to boot up the operating system. All right, I'm just going to have to reload this page. Yes, I know. I've got a cat in my face. So you can see the green dots are starting to go up, because as part of this work, I've realized that I was doing two things at once. I was trying to mount a whole bunch of things at the same time as running the application. And so we've sped up the application, but the mounts now take longer. So there's a bit of like, there's some fun and games to be had there. And are we green yet? Is it green yet? Okay, Compiler Explorer on Windows. Do you know what? I am less concerned about this. So I'm going to just say, would appreciate a second look, but I am going to merge anyway. Thanks. Which I am. So we're going to do squash and merge, and then we're going to look through all of this nonsense here. Revert, as the way Git goes. Okay, use Webpack to auto-generate the files. This way we'll always generate them consistently, be it through make or building for prod. This makes us to make this almost needs to be further unified. That is true. And it now does work for this because of handlebars. Ha ha ha! Actually, use Pug appropriately. Poly hashes are entirely... Alright. Policy files. We can probably... sorry, the cat is on the mouse, which makes perfect sense because cats and mice and things. Maybe we're just going to steal this, So uniformly use Pug for HTML templating. And go after that. Use Webpack loaders to generate. Let's replace that one with that. Yep, policy hashes are entirely client side, no longer to the server side. Yay. And then that doesn't matter. Yes, I think that's what we needed to say. Okay. Squash. And merge. Oh, what a palaver. Whoops. So, the next thing to wait for is build. Where are you, build? The one that matters. 20. No, not 20. Windows. 2685. Yeah. I used to use i3 all the time for what it's worth, the window manager that's a tiling window manager, and I've kind of weaned myself off of it. And focus follows mouse I used to use as well, but like what I need is focus follows intention. So if I'm staring at a window and typing, then sometimes I want to type in that window even if I haven't clicked in it, and sometimes I want to still type in the other window, and the computer should just be able to read my mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to log into the Compiler Explorer administrative site, which is here. Hooray! Here's one I logged into earlier. So, let's have a look at where we are. Builds list. So, at the moment, we are on 2647, build 2647. And we would like it to be 2685, hopefully, soon. Or whatever random number that comes out of my cat typing on the keyboard, which he's about to do. So this is like the behind-the-scenes look at how the deployment system works. So when this finishes, anything that's on a branch or on main will get pushed to S3 as a tarball, and that tarball is this size up here. We know what the hash of the change was, and it's available to be deployed. And by deployed, in this instance, we're looking at the staging environment that Compiler Explorer has. We can have prod builds list. It'll be the same. If I could type, it would be helpful, wouldn't it? It would be the same list of available versions, but the little marker arrow tells us which version that particular environment is in. Excuse me, is on. So we've been having a couple of minor other hiccups which might happen, and if they do, I'm going to have to debug those as well because, you know, stack, overflow, all that kind of stuff. So 2685 is what we're waiting for. So very shortly, I'm going to do builds set current GH 2685. Whoops! That noise is a cat hitting the microphone. And now clicking on my mouse. Thank you, Serafina. You are very cute. But you're just out of shot, I think. Once that's done, we can bring up the staging environment. And from there, see if it looks like it's all going to be okay. So there's a lot of things going on because there are two other like outstanding issuettes that I'm trying to look into that only happen when you do a deployment, and I'm kind of secretly hoping that they happen so that I can debug them. Come on, what are you doing? Still building and testing. So we might just have to amuse ourselves for a little bit. What else can we show? I guess I can go behind the scenes here. We can log into AWS, which is the thing I'm supposed to be doing all this work in. I've done absolutely none. Oh no, my son's athletics coach has just tested positive for COVID. Well, gosh, that's not ideal, but my youngest son has already had COVID and he's recovered, so hopefully that means that he won't be able to pick it up again. Okay, 371592. Whoops, 2. Wonderful. So, oh, don't you start growling, you. It's like menagerie in my house. So we're still building there. So we've got a bit of time to kill, and so we can go and have a look at what is currently running. So we can also do instances status over here to see in production what all is going on. That takes a while. It's basically going to show me the same thing as over here. Golly, we don't have very many instances. 1, 2, 3. It must be very quiet. Why are nobody compiling today? Have I broken it? That's the question I ask myself when it's like not that busy. Isn't there a conference on at the moment? Is CPP Now on at the moment? I should probably know that. CPP Now, C++ Now, whatever. When is this on? May 1st. Okay, no, it's not on yet. So I need to be a bit more careful. We try not to push like obviously breaking changes to compilers for a while there are conferences going on out of sort of a courtesy. And obviously, if our testing was anything better, then we would be we could have more confidence, but we don't. Oh, there we are. Come on. Okay, the distribution has been built. The tests are still running. Oh, the tests have completed. And now the deployment, which is really just tarballing and uploading to S3. So we have 3 healthy instances in production. It's kind of interesting. I don't know what else that you might be interested in seeing, if there's anything. Yeah, now is soon. Now is soon. That sounds a little bit like that Spaceball skit where they get Spaceballs the movie out, and they're watching the movie as it's being made in order to like advance the plot in some way. And how soon is now? That was then. When is now? When is then now? Never. Random clicking. Come on. Any minute now, my children are going to be home from school, and then that's going to make this even more awkward and weird. So I would really love to get this deployed, and then we can kind of like have a moment of everything working for a moment. You can do it. You can do it. There it is. Okay, so now if I do CE builds list, we should see 2685 on the list. It is, hooray! So C builds set current that. And it will ask me all sorts of questions. Staging, yes, I do mean staging. Do you mean the main branch? I do mean the main branch. Compiler discovery has not run. Yes, that's fine. We're going to test that in a minute. Drum roll. Okay, so one of the 2 things that we've had problems with did not happen, which is probably good. How does CE dynamically scale the number of instances? Excellent question. So it currently does it based on the average CPU load across the fleet, which is a pain and not very good. and it's one of the things I would like to have done. So earlier in this presentation, whatever this is, this stream, I was talking about changing the way that we schedule compiles on our instances to have like a queue, a global queue, and have multiple instances pulling from that queue to do the work and then posting the results back. And that's a big departure from the way that we currently do things, but it would have one great advantage, and that advantage would be we could use the metric of how deep is the queue to scale instances. So if the queue is like, if we're like 15 compiles behind, then we probably need some more machines doing the work. We scale for anywhere between 2 and 15 nodes depending on how busy things are. And if I can bring up the Grafana stats once more and get the production instances view, and let's look at the last 7 days. If I can click that thing, come on, here, there it is. You can see that this green line here, we've been up to 8, but that's not a challenge to anyone who's watching this and thinking, I can get this up higher. In fact, how much data have we got? Is this going to work? Please hold. Yeah, look, so we've been up to like 16 before, but you can see there was a point where I changed the threshold of how quickly we escalate to more instances, and I changed that at the beginning of the year, as you can see here. Or what is it? Oh no, that's January, March. It must have been March time. I thought it was earlier than that, so maybe this isn't exactly what I think it is, but you can see. Anyway, this is the number of instances we currently have running. But more importantly, we've just deployed, or rather we haven't deployed because the staging environment is not running. So I need to start the staging environment. And so now, and I'm just going to open up something in the other window. Now, the staging environment is godboard.org/staging. I'm about to bring up a list of the information coming out of staging, which will include some amount of IP addresses. So if you choose to hit the staging address now as part of the stream, part of your IP address will be visible. So I'm just giving you a heads up on that front. I just think it's very interesting and useful to be able to see what happens and how we debug this, but I need to make sure I filter it first so that we don't see anyone who's currently live on the site. So now I've done the filtering, I can bring the window over here. And so you can see the last thing that happened was yesterday, is that 27th? Yeah, yesterday, stopping process. So that's when I shut down staging last night. And this is the output from like essentially the log file. So we get to see posts and gets and things. And we deliberately obfuscate most of the IP here so that we can't track exactly what's going on. But obviously it's not too much of a stretch to go from this to your own. So, this is my IP, I think. Let me just see, what is my IP at the moment? Curl what's.my.ip, I think, is that you can do? No, there's definitely a thing for this. All right, no, right, whatever. It wouldn't be surprising if that was my IP. And that's fine, you can, I don't mind sharing my IP. So we can do instances status here. Instances status. And we can see there is one, and currently the load balancer thinks it's unhealthy because it isn't responding yet, but it's still starting up. So in fact, I can log into that one instance right now. Unfortunately, for all the reasons of the mounting, which I can go into some detail, the instance is under quite a lot of load at the moment and has real trouble with doing any kind of I/O. Systemd is taking up all the world space. So, I mean, I keep searching for Systemd taking 100% CPU mounting, and there is this wonderful Red Hat article that explains why Systemd is exhibiting high load with a large number of mounts, but it's a subscriber exclusive content. So if anyone on the stream or anyone subsequently knows what this might be and how we might be able to get around it, that would be fabulous. Because at the moment the machine is taking like a minute and a half to mount nearly 1,500 compilers, like archive packages, using SquashFS. And like, so if I type top now, you should be able to see, no, not anymore. Systemd? No, okay, now it's actually running, it's unpacking. tar and xz is it unpacking the compiler explorer artifact itself, and now nsolid is our particular version of Node. So it is running, and in a second, yay, you can see it running on the right hand side here. Whee! Gathering version information. Miss! Aha! This is one of the other things I wanted to find. Why did you think, why is this a miss? Oh, that's joyful. That's another thing. That's wonderful. It sounds so sad, but this cache miss is another aspect of the startup process that I've been looking into. And I really wanted to find it. So I am very, very pleased indeed. So what I want to do is I want to find the other incarnation of this particular string in the log files. So I'm going to search for that. Hit. There was the last time we did it, and we got a hit. Here we are. We got a hit. We got a hit. We got hits all the time. All hits all the time. But we got a miss this time. What's different? What's different? Oh, this is exciting. Okay, so you get to debug something else while we're going here. I'm gonna bring up, let's cat to temp hit.json splat, and then here copy cat to temp miss.json splat. Well, you can see that they're different. Well, you can't because it's too small. jq dot minus c dot temp hit.json, and then I'm going to get another one of these windows up here. Ah! I realize I'm doing two things at once, and now you're all confused. And miss.json. Okay. The M time, 0658, that's the same. The path is the same. The args, oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, right. I need to find that. We do run it multiple times, so there will be another one of these. That's unfortunate. Okay, so miss and miss. We want to find the hit where the options were dash dash version, because that's what I've got over here. So we're looking for hit target help syntax only. This one here is syntax only help equals optimizers dash dash version. There you go. This is the one we want. This is the hit that we want to compare with our miss. Oh, yep. Okay. So 658 GDC dash dash version timeout 0 5000 path. Well, I don't know about you, but those files look very similar. Did I? Path, home, library path. Path, home, library path. C include path. C plus include path. LD path. 0512 658. I know what you're thinking. You're screaming at your computer. If only there was a way to see if these files were the same. They are identical. Well, there's a mystery. Okay. Mystery time. Well, I kind of would have lost a bet, you know, on this. So it's going to take it a long time to start up. I'm going to put that in our administrative channel, and I'm just going to let Austin know. Cache misses, and the output was identical. The hash input, but we saw miss. So I wonder what the heck is going on here. So this might be something else. But we've been seeing this periodically, and I don't know what it is. It's going to take a while for it to start up now, and that is sad. This is why we have a compiler discovery process, but that compiler discovery process itself suffers from this problem and can sometimes take 20 minutes itself. So, he says while he opens a Coke. So, blast. Hello, I am streaming just to be, so you know you are. My eldest is home, which means I should probably stop. Arg! So this is going to take its own sweet time. And now, in fact, it is started up by the looks of it, but it got killed because it took too long to start. So if it takes too long to start, then what we find is, like you see I got logged out of the machine here, is that it got zapped. Now, in theory, it should hit the caches again, but we're still getting all these misses. So what was the... Are we missed the same thing that we had before? Let's just check to make sure that this second time round we at least hit the cache for GDC, this particular compiler I looked at. No, we missed it again. Or is that 2036? That's just now. So okay, that there's something very deeply wrong here. So to answer like the questions you might be having, which is, you know, will this man ever stop talking? Can I get out of here alive? Things like that. Behind the scenes, we have S3 scalable storage in the cloud. Thank you, Amazon. Not you. Where are we? I can't even... Is it storage.org? Cache? Yes. There's a separate one. Compiler info cache. This is the place where it should be looking to find the results of these things. This is... So we take that thing here, we run it through a hash, and we get an answer, and we say, well, okay, if we've done it before, then this is what we should get. Oh, access denied. Of course, I can't actually download it from the internet because it's private. But that's the theory. But somehow we failed. We missed it, and I don't know what's going on. Let's just make sure. So properties. There's nothing on here. Because there is at least one of these things has some rules, lifecycle rules, to remove cached items. And this thing, prefix cache, so this only affects the things that begin with cache, which is the one thing we use for our regular compilation. So if you hit Compiler Explorer over and over again with the same stuff, we try not to do work that we don't have to do. And so anything inside cache prefix, this stuff gets expired, but the stuff's in buckets, storage. I'm lost myself in the UI now, haven't I? The stuff in because I've got it there, right? The stuff in compiler info cache should not be being deleted. In fact, look, some of this stuff, April 25th, that's more than 2 days old, so it's definitely not being expired from the cache. So then the question is, how is it that we're coming up with apparently either a different cache, or we haven't got the cache configured, or ... insert other thing here. So I don't know what happened there. There's a mystery for another time, and it looks like we failed once again to get through the startup process. So here in crazy environment land, we are starting up once again. Here it goes. We just have to hope that eventually hits. So we're getting hits now. I'm seeing hit. So something. I wonder if it's not. Is JSON stringify? Is JSON.stringify guaranteed? Well, there's a really big spider over there. JSON stringify. What's the word? Like the same every time. What's the word for it's the same everything? Thank you, Oliver. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Consistent? No, clearly can't remember the word. The word is reproducible. No. Sorted keys is kind of how I would do this in Python. Sorted keys with JSON stringify. implementation specific. Deterministic. Thank you, Rob. That's honestly, that's what happens when you've been talking for more than a couple of hours. Deterministic. JSON stringified deterministic, so you can get a consistent hash from stringified results. Well, there's a thing. So this may genuinely be a problem that we've had since the beginning of forever in Compiler Explorer, because we use this all over the shop. That's absolutely daft. I've got no evidence that that's what's happening though, and we can't actually tell because, like, the log that we're logging out looks the same. But the way that we do this, let me show you while we wait for it to fail to start again, and until eventually completes. Compiler Explorer, do I mean that? Compiler Explorer, yes, I do mean that. Okay, so compiler. Hit. There we go. Nope. There it is. JSON.stringify key is where we are logging out. So you'd think we'd get the same answer, but get compiler cache key gives us this mtime compiler, all that nonsense there. And then we say compiler cache get, and we call base cache.hash object hash get hash and object to hashable string. Does this look familiar? It does. And here we say, if it's a string, just use it. Otherwise, call JSON.stringify object to get something we can hash. So my guess is that somehow that isn't actually deterministic. Yeah, logging the hash is absolutely the right thing to do here. It's just with the point where I have the code, I don't have access to the hash. But it would definitely answer the question. But what would be really cool is to try and find two things and see if they are exactly the same in there, and then we work it backwards. Okay, fetching 1247. Ah, I nearly got there. It nearly got there. So everything should be ready for the next time. So fourth time, fifth time a charm. But this says, like, similar to JSON stable, but so it does imply that JSON stringify node in V8 to clarify spec integer keys are serialized in numeric order and non-integer in chronological order of property creation. So it sounds like it would be fine. If by doing enumeration of the it's actually specified and whatever, then, well, no. Well, what do you mean? See, no, that's stupid. Proxy objects and the replacer argument can be used to create arbitrary behavior. Well, we know that. But what if we're not doing that? Even though JSON.stringify itself always does the same thing. So there's a choice here. Yeah, I think what Partouf has said is we should log the hash, and we absolutely should. And so it's base cache.hash. And so we're going to uglily, which is not a word, add this in as well, which is it going to be a separate change? Just to be clear, like, we need to do this in a separate thing, but this is us trying to understand a separate problem. So we'll come back to that. But finally, the site has come up. So there are two things. Either there's like transient S3 issues, which we shouldn't probably be using S3 for this anyway. We've got some open questions to use, Redis caching and other things like that. But either it's that. So I'm losing the will here. Or so if there was an error or a problem reading from S3, we might just say, oh, it was a cache miss. I will have to look at the code for that. But it doesn't half seem like we're maybe generating a different hash each time. One thing at a time, though. Godbolt.org staging. We can now go and look at staging. Hooray! Okay, thank you, Oliver. Yeah, that's not all that helpful as you correctly guessed, which is why you phrased your reply that way. Much appreciated, mate. Okay, here we are in staging. So the policies have changed, which unfortunately is going to mean everyone has going to have to click consent again. But let's make sure this looks good. Everything is great. Consent. Informed consent. Enthusiastic consent, hopefully. Last change today at 3:19, which sounds about right because that's when I changed it. Anything else in here? Everything looks good. Close. The other thing is changelog, and the changelog has, and again it's scrolled down, so that's what was noted before. So let's just check. If I go to privacy policy and don't scroll the privacy policy down and then go to changelog, we're at the top. But if I go back to privacy policy and scroll this down and then go to the changelog, we're pre-scrolled. Yeah, okay. That's annoying, but the world is full of annoying things, myself included. I am happy with this. This looks like the perfectest thing. And that's not even a word, but it is now. So what I'm going to do is to obviate the requirement of this, to prevent that problem from happening in production, I am going to do our compiler discovery process and show you how that works. So that means we're going to go back to Compiler Explorer. I'm going to infra, and then we're going to go to actions, and then I'm going to run compiler discovery, and I'm going to run a workflow. And this time I'm going to run it in prod, and I'm going to run it for, don't tell me, git, not git, C build, reset, because I've lost my cursor. CE builds list. We are on GH2685. So this will go off and run Compiler Explorer, and then it saves out the list of compilers so we don't actually have to hit them. And this is what we've been doing for a long time now, and it used to take a little while. But hopefully, if this hits the cache, then we're in a good spot. Meanwhile, we're going to go and take that change and make sure it works. So I'm going to do git stash, git checkout main, git stash pop. This has just got our change to do the logging. And let's just see if that has worked. Because I did it blind, right? I just did a base cache dot hash, blah, 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 blah. How many other people find that they end up like doing plate spinning with 2 or 3 things at once? It seems to be my MO. I'm doing it now at least. And the problem with that is you end up with issues. So yeah, here we are. These are the hashes I'm getting. Hash C6 and change hit. Okay, so that's good. That is an appropriate change. I am actually going to do that because I can see Partouf is actually in the chat. I'm going to just commit this directly to master because I'm horrible like that. Yes, git add dot git commit -m log the hash of compiler cache accesses. And I'm also going to do -n because I'm that horrible a person. So I'm going to push that as a change. Compiler discovery here is running. It's been going. It's doing the compiler discovery. I'm going to have a sip of Coke. So while we're waiting, and while I have your attention, or what passes for it, hopefully you're doing something more interesting than this in general, and I'm just a background distraction for you. I think that's an appropriate use of this stream. Oh, well, compiler discovery failed. Never rains, but it pours. And this said, remote command execution failed with status. Unexpected keyword arg. Well, that's sad. So we something funky went wrong. No such. That's fine. Error. This error. That is not an ideal situation to have. That is, I've never seen that before, and I wonder if I've just introduced that by what I've done here. Never, as I say, never rains, but it pours. Now, one thing I did that was slightly different from normal is I did compiler discovery here on our production environment, and I wonder if that just doesn't work. So I'm going to give that a quick go. We normally do it in what? in the staging environment first. So we're going to do compiler discovery. We're going to do run workflow. Staging is the thing. Main is the thing there. GH2685 is the thing here, and I'm not expecting this to work for what it's worth. Let's get this merged in. Darn it. Well, I guess we'll end up doing compiler discovery again for this version. Well, stuff, things. So, while we wait for that to fail again, ho-ho, or maybe succeed, let's be hopeful. Let's outline what the process is going to be. Hopefully, that works. We test in dev again. Oh, see, that worked. That just completed almost instantly because it hit the cache on everything, which is what it's supposed to do. So, CE safe for prod, GH2685, excuse me. So maybe there's something funky about prod not working. I don't know what that is. Right. C environment stop. Staging. Env prod builds list. So we were on 2647 and now we're going to go to 2685. So we're going to go C env prod builds set current GH2685. This is prod, yes. This is main, yes. We didn't get the warning about not having done compiler discovery because we did do compiler discovery this time. Hooray. And now we're going to do env prod environment refresh. Now this is what takes the long time. So this slowly, and then the number of times I've done this and then walked away and I haven't said yes. So I'm going to say yes, prod. What this is doing behind the scenes is it's recycling each of the machines that are in our auto-scaling group. It's killing each one in turn and then getting a new one to join. And that has the side effect of getting the latest version of everything that's coming in terms of like the images that we use, of the VMs that run, and also the versions of the code that I just changed by doing the set current. So hooray. So Compiler Explorer is currently updating, and I apologize, you will, for the next few minutes, you'll be getting mixed messages about which version of the privacy policy and the cookie policy you'll get until it settles down. Because while it's replacing, there's actually a mishmash of servers. That's something else that we would like to change at some point. That would mean that we have like a whole separate fleet of machines that pop up, and once those have become ready, we switch the DNS or we switch the load balancer to point at them instead. But we haven't done that. Each of these things takes a while, as you've discovered by following me along. So, Oliver was talking about the solution to the SquashFS, and you may well ask yourself, why are we mounting 1,500 files or file systems? And that's because each of our compilers is stored in a separate SquashFS device on a network. And so we have a SquashFS file that is a file system of compiler of GCC, say, and we mount that over NFS. And the benefit of that is by being on NFS, it's available to all of our machines in the fleet. They just start up and they have access to all the compilers. You could obviously just mount NFS, which is actually what we do in like the administrator node that's running here. But NFS is not very good at caching. For good reasons, right? We have all the caches turned on, and we use a lot of memory for caching the NFS. But NFS can, at least the way we see it seems to be, is NFS will keep going back and just checking that the metadata hasn't changed. And we can't tell NFS, hey, this part of the drive never changes. Cache it forever. It's forever cacheable. Like, we never literally, GCC 4.9.5 will never change again so long as, like, we're able to keep it up and running. As in, like, the operating system and not the operating system, the file system. That's immutable. So you can cache it for as long as you like. And that doesn't happen. And what that means is things like Boost and lots of things that have lots and lots of files in them, they're dominated not by reading the data for the files, but by just checking to see if the files are still up to date. So NFS takes a long, long time to do Boost includes. There's thousands of little files. And compiling in general requires thousands of little files. So what we discovered is that if we mount the SquashFS machine images from NFS into our machine, instead we get the benefit that SquashFS assumes that its file behind it is essentially immutable. It can't be changed. And the kernel will cache pages of the SquashFS file like it would do pages of a disk drive. And so we get all the benefits of it being cached without actually having to, without it knowing effectively that it's actually stored on a network file system underneath. Now, ideally, we'd come up with a better solution than this, but we have been unable to so far. And as the number of compilers we've added has increased, we now have around about 1,000 of them at any point in time. In fact, I can show you if I log into the machine now. If I just split the screen across there and do CE end prod environment login. Of course, there's a environment instances login. There is a danger here that I'm going to log into one of the machines that's just about to be health checked and whacked. So on the left-hand side, you can see our automated process for upgrading the site. And on the right-hand side, I'm going to try and log into one of those instances. If it ever comes back and lists the things. And I just looked at myself here. I didn't realize quite how high up I am in that. I should have probably checked that before. I don't know how long you've been staring at my navel. Oh dear. Well, so much for writing my own commands. Let's just go straight to the source of truth. So let's go to EC2 and go and steal one of the instances. For example, OA1. That one is launching. OA1. Where are you, OA1? O1A even. There it is. We can just steal your IP address and I'm going to SSH to you directly, and that's essentially what my script was doing anyway. Yes. Okay, so here we are, and here we are, and here we are again. This is one of the machines, and if I type mount, yeah, there's a lot of things going on in this machine. We've got all these Rust compiler type things and whatever, mounted in all these different places. Now, as it happens, that's mounted on top of the NFS drive that contains the machines, sorry, the compilers as well. But it's just a million times faster to access stuff if you access it via the SquashFS. And so if I unmount everything, it still works. It's just slower. Ideally, as I say, we come up with a better solution to this, but we just don't know. So if anybody is watching this and it's like, hey, I have a really great way of sharing around about 1 terabyte of compilers across a bunch of machines without having to build it into the individual images of those machines. So that's another thing we could do is to make multiple drives that have all of the various different compilers on them. And that's something we've considered, right? I could take all of the compilers as they are now and say, like, these ones will never change again. And I could sort of snapshot them and make one Uber drive and then mount that as sort of an overlay over everything else. And we've considered that, but it's a management problem. And it used to be the case that we built these into the images themselves. Like I actually have the VMs would have all of the compilers on them. But if you try and build a single disk image, it takes more than like 24 hours. And so I wasn't going to have that for every time I wanted to add a new compiler. Okie dokie. Well, the site is slowly updating. If I go to godbolt.org and we have a look up here, yeah, it thinks the policies have changed, which maybe they have, maybe they haven't. Oh. Yeah, so now we're going to get an intermediate state where things are broken because these are probably hitting the old nodes. Oh, see, it's going to work on and off. This is an unfortunate moment. The old code would actually fetch the policy from the server, but the new versions of the server don't even have it on them anymore. So that's kind of naughty. So you saw it here. For the next 20 minutes or so, you're not going to be able to reliably get hold of the policy and cookie. Yeah, it'll depend where you are, and depend on the aggressive caching and all the stuff. We have CloudFront and all sorts of things hiding in front of this, so it should just work. But anyway, so I've told you my sorry tale of mounting large read-only blocks of data and in a efficient and cheap way as well. That's another thing. There are a lot of solutions that involve these amazing distributed file systems that then involve you having a cluster of thousands of expensive machines running, which obviously is on a budget. Yeah, a separate image for each compiler, and then just add a new image. Yeah, we didn't. That's another aspect, but like a separate image of what? A drive? And we just end up with a similar problem where we're now mounting 1,500 different drives. Or occasionally we'd have to do a process where we can amalgamate a bunch of drives together and say, okay, that's now the base image, and then here's the 12 things we add on top of it. So that's more management stuff, but that would definitely work. And that's kind of like, we could definitely do the same image. The actual SquashFS thing would work too for that, right? We could actually just build a mega SquashFS which has all of the archived versions of GCC. We could take all of the things up to GCC 9 and just say, yep, all of those are now forevermore ossified as gcc.img. But it's like the tooling around it that's tricky. I just wish there was an off-the-shelf thing where I could say, hey, this is NFS but a lot faster and read-only. And maybe there's a flag to NFS that I've missed all this years that just says, no, cache these things and cache them aggressively and keep them forever, which would be great. Or, at least this subdirectory. Of course, the unfortunate thing is that some of these things do actually change. We do change the trunk versions of the compilers once a day, and those are the ones that we don't build SquashFS images for, and we have to be able to say, hey, this thing does change. But even if we got rid of that and just said, no, every time we do a trunk build, we have to refresh the environment like this, that would be a thing. So I am... the data is on NFS or EFS, Oliver. EBS would be great, but unfortunately you can't attach an EBS drive to more than one machine, and so you'd have to make an EBS drive and then clone it over and over again every time a machine booted up and get hold of it, which takes time as well. So that would be a solution, and we've talked about doing that as well. EBS drives are also tied to wherever your machines boot up, and we've got multiple availability zones that we're in, so we'd have to have one EBS drive as a master in each, or we'd have to make a snapshot that was able to be generated from quickly, which we might be able to do. But then if you look at all the performance things that talk about EBS snapshots and booting an EBS drive from a snapshot, it's essentially S3 behind the scenes, and it just pages in the disk data as it's reading. So for all we know, we trade off one slowdown for another. It might take 20 minutes to parse and look through all of the compilers before the node is actually starting to run again. So who knows what the right solution is? We certainly haven't found it yet. It's certainly an interesting problem, and I'll be honest with you all. Every now and then I just think to myself, why don't I just write a file system? How hard can it be? Haha. How many careers have ended with people saying that kind of thing, right? But it would be really interesting to sort of say, can I use something like Redis or whatever to serve out giant slabs of the file from S3? Yeah, y'all, I have to. Yeah, I've been here 11 years. I've picked up some of the local vernacular. Yeah, it's Oliver. That's exactly it. Yeah, these kinds of interesting problems only happen at weird scales, and the sort of solutions you stare at and you're like, how did we get here? I don't know what we needed this for. And yeah, I have yet to find any sort of good answer to this, but I don't know if anyone else has this problem, and if they do, then maybe we should make a company and come up with a decent solution for it. Or maybe I'm just doing it wrong, and that's a very real possibility too. Yeah, anyway, I'm talking into the void right now, so I think what I'm going to do is talk not into the void, but I'm going to talk at you here. Like, hey, I've remembered how to do this. I have buttons to do this. I learned some OBS. And I guess at this point, really, I should go and see my family and make sure my dog is not having any adverse reactions. He doesn't look like he is. He seems he's pretty cool over there. Let me pick up this and you can see my dog. Where are you? Hey, Monty. Yeah, we're talking about you. Are you okay? Yeah. There he is. Cutie. Okay, I'm going to put this back down, and hopefully I'm no longer pointing at the ceiling. If I'm looking in the right place, yes. To remember which window to look in. So otherwise I see a very delayed view of what you are presumably seeing. So I'm going to end the stream here, and I want to say special thanks again to Jeremy for all of the PRs recently, Oliver for being here and sending me some information which I'm going to read in a second, and everyone else who has been here to chat about stuff. Excuse me, as my voice is starting to go, so this is perfect timing, and kept me going throughout all of this. I will be tidying up a few bits and pieces. I'll probably do another deployment after this to pick up that change that has the hash in it, and I'm going to read through that code a bit more and see if I can't find why we're missing the cache from time to time. But mysterious things are afoot still, it seems. So, once again, thank you for being with me. I'll be doing this one more time tomorrow before I have to go back and do my real job. And, in terms of thanks as well, Partouf, so much of the code has had their input, and there are large areas of the code I still don't know, which I'm embarrassed to admit, that Partouf is responsible for, and I know they're on the stream here and they're taking some time to chill, and I can encourage them to continue to do so, but I want to make sure that you're really appreciated. And so I will bid you farewell and see you all tomorrow, maybe. Bye-bye. And now the awkward bit where I have to remember which buttons to press to actually stop the stream. Bye for real.